The Nielson Show featuring Lieutenant Eric. Only on Edmonton Sports Talk.
All right, happy Tuesday morning, 6:07 in Edmonton. Lieutenant Eric here with you from the Popeyes Louisiana Kitchen Studio. And YouTube Trev behind the monitors. Jay Milne, of course, joining this morning. Dustin Nielson away both Monday and today. Should be back, scheduled to be back tomorrow morning. But Jay Milne filling in for Joaquin Gage, who's filling in for Dustin Nielson. As I mentioned, YouTube Trev starting a little later this morning, keeping you tantalized. A few audio issues, as sometimes happens around here. But we're just waiting for Iwannik to come in, take one cable, put it somewhere, and then everything will be fixed. That's what's going to happen.
He's got the magic
brains
touch
here. Yeah, we're all trying to think about stuff and trying to get things going, but we'll get things going. YouTube Trev, he's got a new.
How's it going? How's it going, LT?
You got a new.
I've got a lot of permissions, and I've got a lot of songs I have to play and figure out to play them, and so bear with me here. This is going to be
an added key.
Interesting.
Yeah, but this is fun.
Yeah.
You're in control now.
Yeah. I like it. I can play music. Yeah. If I don't like what you're saying, I can just play some music.
Can you give yourself a conch this morning?
Yeah. Here, I haven't quite uploaded that yet, so
no rush.
Here, wait. And I don't have the nice conch, unfortunately, like our conch or our conch.
You don't have our conch?
No.
Oh, the wet one.
The wet one.
I heard it yesterday.
It's in my hard drive. I didn't save, I guess. But here's a conch to Jay Milne, having Jay back on the show. Let's go.
Let's go.
Couldn't have blown it better myself.
I really like the wet sounding conch. I thought, Trev. I think you gotta.
We had a bit of it yesterday.
We're on it. I heard.
Yeah. I had never heard
exciting.
it before in my life, so I was amazed, equally kind of taken aback.
Disturbed?
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of descriptors, I guess you could say, about that one. But we're off and running. Again, it's the Nielson Show, Popeyes Louisiana Kitchen Studio. Heading to Popeyes today. They got the Oilers Cups continuing to go. I think you've missed out on the Zach Hyman over the weekend, but it carries on. The deal is $16.99, classic chicken sandwich, nuggets, Cajun fries, medium drink that doesn't come in the Oilers Collectible Cup, dipping sauce, and one of those 4 Collector's Cups. Pick up your Oilers Collector's Cup at all Popeyes locations. If you have any texts as well, 780-218-9999. I know you have full access to the Paris Jewelers inbox this morning as well, as is the Nasty Chat, where you like to hang out. And
I love to dabble in the Nasty Chat.
Those are my people.
Yeah, it's fun. It's good. I mean, it's nice to see so many people that are engaging in the show at this time of day. Everybody's, there's some people calling you a little bit unorganized. Trev, I think that's a shot. I don't think that's fair.
It's not fair.
Fine.
Yeah.
Oh, he's fine. No, there's no. This is like the Oilers. We started off. It's anti-Oilers. It's the reverse Oilers. We started off yesterday so hot. He solved 3 of 3 issues before we were just.
Yeah, I can't fix it all, and the audio wasn't coming through. Unfortunately, I don't know that roadcaster. Matty does. He really does. He knows all of them. Obviously, he's the fix-it guy, right? Like it's impressive what he can do. So as soon as he comes in, we'll have it fixed. But in the meantime, this works. We're doing good.
Pendulum swings. We had such success, and now we have a bit of issues. That's okay. We'll settle out in some middle ground here. Maddie getting some work done on the old wing today, so Hangout might be starting a little later as well this morning. So you might get a little extra Nielson show this morning with myself, Jay Milne, and YouTube Trev. Just setting up on the menu what we got to come today. 6 o'clock hour is wide open. You know how we do. Conch requests and all that. Of course, YouTube Trev will be blowing the thing this morning. The conch, not the show. All during the 6 o'clock hour. So get him in. Paris Jewelers inbox 780-218-9999. or via the nasty chat if you want to, give a conch to old CP Corey Perry there, donning his Oilers silks. Man, that's an image, hey? Oilers official account on Twitter tweeting that out here. I'm in just sitting there with the jersey on. We are here now. But anything you want conched, please let us know. 780-218-9999 or in the nasty chat as well. We got Craig Button of TSN joining us 7 o'clock, kicking off the second hour of the show. We'll get his thoughts on the Perry acquisition, what it means for the Oilers moving forward. Obviously, kind of recap a bit of the Ken Holland, Corey Perry availability yesterday. Not too much coming out of there that we didn't already know. But Button's thoughts on that as well, and the landscape around the NHL, perhaps as well, maybe even his thoughts on the current situation involving the AJHL and BCHL with Hockey Canada. Cool Bet hotline of the day. I know Jay Milne's extremely anxious for this one. The guy can't stop betting. He bet on YouTube Trev this morning to fix the issue, and he's already out. You got to win that back.
You owe me, Trev. You owe me.
We'll also have weekly confessions. And coming up 7:40 this morning. Kind of easy trivia, 3 questions too many. That's just after 8 o'clock to kick off the third hour. Joaquin Gage returns to the show in his regular slot. It's Gage's big save for Pro-Am Sports. That's around 8:20. We'll set up the Oilers back in action tonight as they chase, win 15, 16,
14.
13?
14.
You get so high in these numbers now, you can't even, it's just they're all melding together here. 14 straight wins.
Well, and at the beginning of January, this was discussed. I know over the Christmas break when Tom and I were hosting that week, that was discussed that January was the time to capitalize because the schedule had some weaknesses and had some areas that the Oilers, if they're going to move and trend in the right direction, needed to take advantage of. And by golly, they've done it. They have run the table in January. Have
you
they
make
not?
hay with the sun and all that, right? This is kind of the saying. That's what they say. So
yes, say hey when the sun shines.
They're making the hay, and they could be making more later this week. Blue Jackets in town tonight. The Blackhawks are in town Thursday ahead of a matinee Saturday afternoon at 2 with the Nashville Predators. But we'll get you set for the Jackets and the Oilers with the Orange and Blue Breakfast powered by Mobile One. That's happening around 8:30 this morning. And that's all ahead of the wrap brought to you by William Huff. We'll wrap the show, and it might be a bit of an extended wrap this morning given the fact that Matt Iwanek will be away getting some treatment on his damaged wing. So hang out, usually 9 to 11. Could be pushing a little into that time slot this morning, 9:10, 9:50. He said it wouldn't be more than a half an hour. And I'm holding him to it.
We've already decided we're just going to sit here and make fun of him while he's away.
You want to give us the allotted time, Matthew? We'll take it.
Your
and we'll
time,
use it.
brother.
Extremely well. So anything you need, once again, 780-218-9999 or in the nasty chat as well. Looks like the audio is all good and going right now. We got everything going. Tube Socks agreed, Glue Guy. He prefers the wet conch, brings an illusion of authenticity to the proceedings. Don't know if I would agree on that one, but this one we use is so clean.
Nothing better than a wet conch.
Exactly. Hey,
I much prefer my conches wet rather than dry.
To be wet. Bobby LaFrench, boys, I'm so conflicted. Living in Montreal, I've been told a few times already that Perry is going to become my favorite player by the end of the playoffs. Habs fans got a taste of him, but I wonder if they really understand the stink he left in the mouths of the Western Conference. Is this like Marchand becoming a Canadian? I guess we'll start the show like I started yesterday with Joaquin Gage, Mr. J. Milne, Corey Perry as an Edmonton Oiler. Your thoughts?
Love it. I love it.
Any sort of hesitation? Any
No.
sort of
No. Zero. Absolutely zero, to be clear. Free did not cost us anything.
That's the main. You're a dad, aren't you?
Yes.
Okay.
I like free. No, but it did not cost the Oilers a single penny. Kenny Holland's having his job handed to him here on a silver platter with some of these signings he's gotten the last couple of years. With obviously, I'm alluding to Evander Kane, but no, Corey Perry is exactly what this team needs, especially on the bottom as a bottom six role. He's not a top six player anymore, but that is exactly where you need that grit, that playoff experience that he has. I mean, everybody as an Oilers fan remembers despising Corey Perry when we matched up with them in our playoff run.
It was reminded a bit yesterday during the presser.
Yeah, and now he's our guy. I always said as a way back in the day, the Oilers had a player named Shane Corson. You love to have Shane Corson on your
Maple
team.
Leaf.
Yeah, yep. You hated to play against him. Hated it. Now we've got our new Shane Corson with Corey Perry, and I mean, as Oilers fans, how can you not be excited about that? How can you not be ecstatic? Right? I mean, the presser went very well, in my opinion. I think the general, and not that it's any of our business, none. What he's been through, what he's gone through. Obviously, the stories out of Chicago were wild and crazy when they happen. Nobody truly knows what has been through or what Corey Perry's been through, and I don't really care. He seemed to have taken ownership of what happened to the situation in Chicago. He seemed to move on. If get the help maybe that he's needed, that he needed. So let's give a second chance to somebody that is a really dynamic player and can help the Oilers crest and get to that playoff, get into the playoffs securely and then help them in the playoffs massively.
And I think most people subscribe to that thinking. You and I were talking prior to the show, and that's the NHL. Upper body injury, lower body injury, specificities, we don't really care about it. You just take it and you go. He seems to have atoned for whatever happened. I do believe it was a texter I was going back and forth with yesterday saying, well, Chicago does now have a heightened responsibility and awareness on issues. Maybe if something like this, whatever it was, happened in another market, it wouldn't have been taken. So I don't know. But you do weigh all these things and you look at them through that lens. But he seems to have atoned. Ken Holland as well, echoing what you said. The specifics weren't any of his business. Obviously, it's between the NHL rules and everything. It checks out. So here you are. You have a player, which, as you just said, a lot of sandpaper. I like the dark arts. The pestiness is something that this team, this organization, I think, and you could have your Zach Cassians and stuff, but a true guy that knows, I think Zach sometimes let the emotion overrun him. You got to be smart. You got to pick your situations. And Corey Perry is that guy will cherry pick situations as opposed to somebody a bit of a bull in China shop type of mentality where you're just kind of running around out there and kind of hurting yourself more often than not. But I like it. And then with Kane as well. I mean, getting the Bash Brothers, a la Mighty Ducks 2, for free is a pretty sweet deal. And his flexibility on the right side, certain situations, I know he's not the player he once was in terms of, I don't know, you can even argue speed maybe was never, but he brings to the table a bit of pedigree, a bit of smartness in the dark arts, and at a price like that, as you mentioned, Father J, you can't complain.
Nothing's better than free.
Nothing's
better than free.
Exactly.
Now, this is the third team now that he's going to, though, where he's chasing a cup, right? He could have went anywhere else. But
some big suitors out there.
Absolutely. And at Corey Perry's age and where he's at in his career, he needs to jump on board with a team that he feels can compete for a cup. And lo and behold, he's ended up here. I mean, if the Oilers keep playing the way they are, that's a really good thing. However, the schedule does start to toughen up here as we move into February.
Tightens up as well in terms of just schedule crunch. Yeah. They do have a lot of games in hand right now. And just taking a quick look at the West as it stands, specifically the Pacific. The Canucks obviously on top of the tree, 68 points through 47. Golden Knights also on 47 games played. They're sitting at 60 points following an overtime loss yesterday. Oilers occupying that third spot, 5 games in hand prior to tonight on the Golden Knights, and Canucks sitting on 53 points. Also on 53 points, the Kings. They hold that top wild card spot. The Oilers have 2 games in hand on them, and the Preds, who have played 47, they're in town Saturday afternoon, occupying wild card spot number 2 on 51 points. I'm okay with Perry signing. Everyone should get a second chance or even a third chance. I'll go so far as to say a 4th or a 5th. If we keep that, why not? Everybody gets all chances.
Why not?
Yeah. Connor and Leon, the reason, yes. And I'm sure, look, Corey Perry, I think, quoted in saying his kid follows McDavid. I mean, this is everybody complains, McDavid's not shown enough star power. Well, Corey Perry, kid, he's noticing. He's watching. He sees McDavid, and he basically told his dad that this is the place you need to go, right? Am I putting too much credit on Perry's young boy?
Do you think Corey Perry moves into McDavid's house?
Leader and leader, right?
Right.
You get the little bit of that leadership moving on.
Usually it's the opposite. The young player moves in with the older vet.
Yeah.
I wonder if the older vet moves in.
Perry, the old vet, gets out, starts shoveling the driveway. Hey, Connor, no. We have heated ones.
That's
okay.
heated.
Like,
that's heated.
That's heated. Right?
Don't go down
What?
that path.
You kids. 780-218-9999. Paris Jewelers inbox this morning.
YTT, I need to get a conch.
Oh.
I gotcha.
This is a good one, and I'm sure there's plenty of other people out there listening on the nasty chat coming into the Paris Jewelers inbox that had come off the same high or maybe a disappointing low at the end and the conclusion of Edmonton Minor Hockey Week. So I'd like to get a shout out for the conch for the SP 409 Spartans and Benny Sickler for winning the U13 Tier 3 South Division of Edmonton Minor Hockey Week. Yes. Makes it even that much more special that it came on the wet conch.
It's like you're letting a balloon go.
Yeah. I mean, that it sounds as natural as possible. If the conch finish is too clean, I don't trust that conch.
It's a fake.
That's not a conch
It's an
I want to be
imposter,
around.
a faux conch.
That's a faux conch.
You buy it from the gift shop there down in the
It's probably recorded or something.
from the beach. Can I get a conch for my first day working in the mental health and addictions field? God bless you, fellas. That comes in from Stamp Hater. I think we can do that, hey? And we also don't, I know people it is Tombstone Tuesday on this program where Dusty plays all of his Tombstone clips.
Tombstone was just on 2 nights ago.
Get out of here.
I couldn't help. I mean, it's one of those movies, right?
It's always on. It's Twister, Tombstone. I mean, take your pick of the rotating 4 or 5 that they got going on there. Can I guess AMC?
Oh, bang! You know, that movie it doesn't get better as the more you watch it. The more I watch it, it kind of has some gimmicky moments to it.
Oh,
like
not a true Western, I wouldn't say.
Well, and I know I say that in jest a wee bit, but yeah, they're that scene when they go off on their horseback and they go into the bar and the horse is kicking the crap out of somebody in the bar. The horse, hey, I guess Hollywood.
Well,
there is that aspect.
You got a big budget, right? And you're like, we have all this money, we might as well use it.
That looks very low budget
haul it
to me.
up against the cap. This is kind of, well, and look, if you want Tombstone stuff, I mean, maybe Jay can do his, Daisy. If you do, hey, say how lewd.
I was gonna do
anything.
You want to? What is it? You want to be my Huckleberry?
See, there you go. We're flying. We don't need the audio.
Who needs audio?
Who needs audio? Who needs Dusty? We don't.
We got a wet conch and Huckleberry.
And you doing Tombstone impersonations. This is how
Life's
we're off
good.
flying. Anything else you want Jay to say from the movie? Text in 780-218-9999
Fire away.
or the nasty chat as well. Should mention as well the Paris Jewelers inbox. Valentine's Day, Jay, just around the corner. Time to find something for the one you love at Paris Jewelers, Canadian and family owned with 22 locations across the nation. Go see your friends at PJ's. They'll look after you. Ask for Michelle as well. She'll go the distance. Or you can hop online, www.parisjewelers.com. It's the Paris Jewelers inbox, 780-218-9999. You can get your texts in. And if you are listening from a locale that's outside Edmonton or area, please let us know as well. We had a few, we went international yesterday. We'll have to get those pins up. We'll have to get Zach to come in here later this morning to get those up. But yeah, we went to, I'll go Germany. It was a flying day yesterday. Germany, Mexico, Australia. We went to Australia, Jay. Melbourne.
Put another shrimp on the barbie.
No, so we, any place you're listening, resort or otherwise, please let us know through the nasty chat or the Paris Jewelers inbox. This morning, Jonathan chimes in, Corey Perry to Petrangelo, I'm your Huckleberry. Yeah, well done. Obviously, if you do get text of the day 2 this morning, you will be going into a mini draw. We'll probably pick about 2 or 3 finalists for text of the day, but it gets you $20 to A&W, and the A&W Spicy Dill Pickle Mama Burger is back. You, my man.
Not bad, eh?
Do you think we could get the mascot outfit?
We might get a little. I don't want to say. I've already said too much. But the spicy dill pickle mama burger is back, available as a buddy burger as well. Starts at just $3.99. Grass-fed beef burger topped with pickles and onion slice, real cheddar cheese, and slathered in creamy spicy dill pickle sauce. Limited time only at A&W. So come and get it. $20 to A&W. On the line for text of the day this morning, and Jonathan, he has primed himself in good position with that I'm your Huckleberry Perry to Petrangelo text. Get them in 780-218-9999. The Rogaine hair products. Every time I walk past their aisle in Walmart, say I'm your Huckleberry.
I'm your Huckleberry.
Tombstone is gimmicky. How lewd comes in from Bones as well. Yeah, I mean the whole thing is it's a one-liner. It's a one-liner movie. The whole movie is a bit. It's good. Whole soundboard of just the lines from the movie.
Pat Maroon's bib came in and said, I'd love to have been sitting in the budget meeting when they were like, how are you going to use all this money? I know. A horse doing ninja kicks in a saloon. What an idea.
Get him in there. Write it in. That wasn't in the book.
No.
They just that's a Hollywood edition there.
That was the real deal.
Exactly. Any more contra requests? Once again, Paris Jewelers inbox, the place to send them. Just because I didn't have you yesterday, and I know you are a football guy, quickly, and we'll get to the hockey. Of course, Corey Perry, Oilers, Blue Jackets, it'll dominate the show this morning. But just within the 6 o'clock hour, quickly, ahead of a sports update as well, your thoughts on divisional rounds and heading into the conference championship Sunday?
Oh, boy. What a weekend. Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm really torn. I thought the Buffalo Bills had a chance. I'm sorry. Sending my regards to you, Lieutenant Eric.
Beat by a better team.
They were, and they might have been beaten by. Are we looking at potentially the greatest athlete to ever play a sport in Patrick Mahomes? He's been in the league 7 years. He's been to 6 AFC Championships games.
And now he's done it on the road. He's
done it on the road
now.
He's proven all of this. He just doesn't quit. Name another athlete that has come out to a hotter start in their career, not a start to their career, than Patrick Mahomes. We might be in the middle of witnessing history. And yet we continually doubt Patrick. I myself included. Hand up. Hand up. Hand up. Hand up. YTT. You guys, he is doing something so special that we are in the now.
We're still recovering from Brady-itis here, though. You know,
I know, and that's why that I know.
Gotta get your strength up first, right?
Everybody, I get it. I'm not saying he's Tom Brady. I'm not saying he's Michael Jordan, who's clearly the best basketball player to ever play.
I'm in that chair.
Yeah, sitting in this chair. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying he's Tom Brady. I get it. He's not. But Tom Brady did not come out the way that Patrick Mahomes has come out. And it's not firing the same way that Pat Mahomes is. What he's doing, if he goes into Baltimore this weekend and knocks off the team that is hyped to come out of the AFC and knocks off the Baltimore Ravens and goes to another Super Bowl, this is legendary status already. And he's only been in the league 7 years. We've got to remember that this is not a career. We're not looking at the whole career. We are looking at his first 7 years. So I think take a moment, soak it in, realize what you're witnessing is greatness. Is somebody that, if he keeps this pace, is going to go down as the most legendary athlete of all time. Not quarterback in the NFL, athlete to ever play professional sports. If he keeps this pace.
If he keeps this pace. So you're saying he's not a systems quarterback. This is more of a...
Why would I assume that? Why would I assume any otherwise that he would keep this pace? Because he hasn't let the foot off the gas yet. He can, and I'm not...
But you keep getting to points in your career. And again, the road thing, well, now he's answered that bell, right? Like, what's the next bell to you saw with Brady and Belichick the schism there, right? And how will they survive on their own?
And that'll
Brady certainly
happen.
Proved
That'll happen.
that time will come. But right now, you're right. I mean, it's tough to ignore, and I think people these days too just want something to kind of hate on as well at times. I mean, especially if you reside in that division or the conference as a whole. I mean, look, Josh Allen talked about as well, probably more so than in a sense of just one guy carrying a team, right? There's a lot of Allen hype. Maybe Lamar Jackson, still to prove as well. He hasn't done it nearly as much as Patrick Mahomes, totally, but still a very fun athlete to watch. Extremely talented in his own right. The Ravens too, home field advantage now. That'll be interesting to see the Chiefs go in there. But Chiefs defense as well, I think, came to play, limiting Buffalo, dink and dunk. It was all underneath, no big plays. It's a great team that Mahomes is part of.
Absolutely.
He does lead the greatness.
100%. And you can't ever deny that. And Tom Brady was part of a great team. And Peyton Manning, when he won his Super Bowls, was part of great teams. But you got to look at it and think about a guy like Josh Allen. How the last however many years he's been in Buffalo have been spoiled by Patrick Mahomes. If he was in the NFC, do you think Josh Allen might have already had a Super Bowl? And you think of all the other quarterbacks, the Phillip Rivers, the Tom Brady, or the Peyton Mannings that had to play against Tom Brady, that were stolen of victories just because they're in the same era of greatness as Tom Brady and now Patrick Mahomes. You can't deny it. It's not a debate. It's a fact. What I'm saying about Patrick Mahomes right now, it's not up for debate. It's factual. Now you look at the other game and you look at the Detroit Lions going into San Francisco. -7 is the current spread. The San Francisco 49ers are favored by 7 points, hosting the Lions. I don't know. I mean, in Vegas, they usually have a way of figuring this stuff out.
They seem to know, yeah.
They seem to know. They seem to know more than you and I, anyways. But that seems oddly high to me. If anybody wants to chime in on the nasty chat, maybe drop into the Paris Jewelers inbox. I'd like to know why -7 is okay for the 49ers. Now, for those of you that aren't fans of Coolbet and online betting, -7 means that San Francisco has to win by 7 points.
Thank you for the...
Actually, they have to win by 8.
Yeah,
7 would be a tie. So if San Francisco wins by 7 points, it's a push. If they win by 8, they cover what we call the spread.
Could be that Lions defense though late in the game against the Bucs and kind of let the Lions can play great on offense. Maybe the defense is the question there, and that's maybe why the 7 is there. But I too, great. I mean, this is what you want on a conference championship Sunday. Baltimore, KC. It's the 1v3, both conferences. You're happy with this as a new you've been far removed from any sort of competitiveness when it comes to NFL and your partisan fandom.
Yeah, well, I'm a Commanders fan, so
you just let them play, right? But this is good from a neutral's point.
Yes.
This is what you want. You're
absolutely. And you know what we have coming up at 7:40 today? Confessions.
Yes. Which was spurned out of fantasy and fantasy football. Is this kind of a route that you'll be taking here or something?
I have a massive confession, and I'll let you know what it is during our confession segment at 7:40.
Is it life or is it sports?
Sports, which could parlay into life.
I know, yeah. It's all life, I guess.
It's all life.
Tube Socks sounds like Glue Guy never watched Brian Bosworth play. Any thoughts on that? Yeah, the Boz, yeah.
Totally not related to this conversation.
Well, we're just athletes. The pure athlete. I mean,
Well, Boz was a great linebacker for the Seahawks.
Yeah.
He was a nuthead, but
yeah.
I mean, who doesn't love the Boz?
Bill Russell, Boston Celtics. This unnamed text flies in. 11-time NBA champion in his 13-year career. Most of that was playing against Wilt Chamberlain. So there you go.
And I
you have a few challengers to your
everybody
theory.
keeps saying Brady. And I get it. I'm not saying Mahomes is the GOAT right now. I'm saying if things continue, he will become the GOAT. So, but I mean, hey, that's it. That's the beauty of professional sports. That's the beauty of the game. That's why you play it. The Buffalo Bills were favored going into that game. And yet, so we all fell for it. Everyone fell for it and said that, this was the year that Josh Allen was going to get it done and take down the Chiefs. They had him at home. They had him wherever they wanted him. No, didn't happen.
It's classic Buffalo football, baby. This is what happens. It's two script. And I don't even care. You can take Bass out of it, and it's unfortunate for him. And you're wide right or whatever. Catch a damn ball, make a damn play. They couldn't make a play. They couldn't make a big game-changing play. And they had their chances. They had their opportunities. And it just goes missing again. We have, though, an athlete that was added to the Elks yesterday that might give Patrick Mahomes a run for his money here. This is a typical Chris Jones signing and something that could fill a void on the defensive line following the departure of Jake Ceresna last week. But all of that, we'll still touch on that prior to 7 o'clock. Craig Button will be joining us just after 7. Ready for a sports update here for Green Plan? You got the sounds? Iwanix texting, so we might figure this out after all. But take it away, Jay Milne with a sports update.
All right, this sports update is brought to you by Green Plan, providing you with an award-winning environmental planning and consulting services, whether it's municipal, industrial, or residential. Plan it right with Green Plan. Visit greenplan.com or give them a call at 780-455-4292. It was a quiet night in the NHL last night, and the mighty Winnipeg Jets were taken down by Boston 4-1. Fun fact. The Jets allowed more than 3 goals for the first time since November 2nd. Wow. Tyler Toffoli caps his second hat trick in overtime as the Devils knock off the Golden Knights 6-5, and the Canucks stay hot as they defeated the Chicago Blackhawks 2-0. In the NBA, the Toronto Raptors fall to last place in the Eastern Conference as they lose to the Memphis Grizzlies 108-100. And Joel Embiid went off last night. The battle between he and Wembanyama was overshadowed by the big fella as he poured in 70 points and 18 rebounds on the way to a 133-123 victory over the San Antonio Spurs. And although, as everybody knows, the Oilers signed Corey Perry yesterday, he will not dress tonight as the Oilers host the Columbus Blue Jackets at 7 p.m. Calvin Pickard is expected to get the start in the net to join our very own Tom Gazzola, Matt Cassian, and the newly rearmed. How do you want it? At 5:30 on the Oil Stream pre- and post-show here on Edmonton Sports Talk. ESD weather today, the forecast calls for mainly sunny skies with a high of -7 and warmer temperatures as we move towards the weekend. Calling for 0 on Friday. Currently it's partly cloudy and -11. This sports update was brought to you by Green Plan. I'm Jay Milne. You're up to date.
The Nielson Show featuring Lieutenant Eric. Only on Edmonton Sports Talk.
Edmonton Sports Talk. You're listening to the Nielson Show. Lieutenant Eric in for Dustin Nielson, Jay Milne alongside, and YouTube Trev, as always, behind the monitors back there. I know the audio is a little different today as we're playing audio out of different computers. Of course, the sports update with Jay Milne doing that angelic sports update. We just can't match the music with your. It's one or the other. So we're gonna have to maybe go a little cold today for the remainder of the sports updates.
I'm ready to roll with anything.
Whatever. Like, it doesn't matter to you, right? So anything you want to discuss this morning? 780-218-9999 is the Paris Jewelers inbox, or over the nasty chat as well. And yes, we will be doing those. We will be doing those cold. The music just doesn't work out of that same computer. We are on this. Iwanix is on it right now. We'll figure this thing out. But tell you one thing that you won't be getting drowned out is the sports talk during the remainder of this show. And I wanted to get to this one, too. You were talking about just pure athletes and Patrick Mahomes and the domination that he's been currently constructing in the National Football League. The Edmonton Elks making a move yesterday, signing Robert Kimdiche, defensive lineman, the veteran of 5 NFL seasons, drafted by the Cardinals, some time with the Dolphins and Seahawks as well. 59 total tackles, 4.5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, and a touchdown in 59 career games. He was selected 29th overall, had some high pedigree coming out of high school, played his college at Ole Miss. But this is a guy that's got a lot of interesting physical capabilities, albeit though sometimes with the attitude not keeping up with the physical abilities. And yes, he is brought in, once again, 29th overall pick by the Cardinals back in 2016. A Chris Jones guy through and through. I did tweet out yesterday a bit of a highlight reel of his coming out of college and entering the NFL draft. This guy can play a variety of positions along defense. He can drop back into linebacker, kind of dance around the line, mostly at that rush position. But, man, he can also spot in on a few plays on offense, make a run, make a catch, make a touchdown. And, boy, it's an AC Leonard volume 2.0 in the making here. Look, the Elks are moving. They have to move. They need to win. They need to make the playoffs this season. They need some form of success. I know when Ceresna was dealt for Curly Gittins Jr., it was a highly talked about deal, obviously, in this market due to the fact Ceresna spent some time here and was quite established. We all thought, what's Chris Jones going to do with it? What is he going to do? A defensive guy who usually has a knack for finding defensive gems. What is he going to do? And, the jury's still out. But when you bring in a guy of this caliber with maybe a bit of unchecked potential right now, my eyes perk up for training camp following this move.
100%. How can't you be excited about that? And that was the consensus, was that, oh my gosh, this was Chris Jones. His hands are all over this Ceresna deal and moving him out. And even our own Matt Iwanek was distraught about said move.
Oh, very distraught. That's an understatement.
And I said, look, this is what Chris Jones does. Now, he was owed a large sum of money the next day. Yep. So that obviously had something to why he was moved out of Edmonton. Bringing in a player like this, yeah, absolutely. A dynamic, potentially two-way player that can spice up your defense and maybe add something a little offensively in the red zone. Sign me up. Why wouldn't you like that?
Yeah, and again, just a classic Jones acquisition here. A guy that had a lot going for him. Again, we'll see if he can kind of rekindle that. I do believe was flirting around down there with the USFL. He, the fact that he can play alongside that line, maybe drop into linebacker, drop into a little coverage, just a pure athlete. And again, the capabilities of perhaps getting a touchdown or doing something on the offense. It's kind of that value. Again, speaking from a dad's point of view, you're not just getting a defensive lineman and a static defensive lineman, but a guy that can maybe move around, got a lot of attitude about him. So again, nothing's for sure, and again, you got to go through camp and all this, but I just think that for the amount of negative, and Chris Jones hasn't really done much here on the football field in terms of wins and losses to get a lot of praise, but he has populated the league with a lot of talent over the years, and especially on this side of the ball, and generally in this position. So when this signing was made, I was kind of like, okay, well, this could be interesting. We'll see what happens when he gets to camp, right? But I just, it's one of those things. You can go scrap heaping in the CFL, right? You can go to the free agency route,
100%.
and a lot of teams do, but you're paying for, and I've always said in this league too, you should always be looking for an eye on the future and what's next, what's to come, what can you cycle through here on a cheap, maybe an unidentified, a gem that's got a little bit of dirt on it that you can dust off and bring in and keep going in that route. So we got YouTube. This is amazing stuff. You are the 5'2" athlete. Look at it.
YTT is really on the
down. You can't. I don't know if you can see him on the camera. You can't because he's doing a great job. That is the one. Hey, we had the original one in there. I'm good to go. I didn't change anything. And Maddie was sitting there yesterday, correct? It's all on him, so we can confidently blame him for. Yeah.
It's always the guy that's not here.
And the guy that's up early and walking us through this process. But
I'm still blaming Dusty because he's not here.
Sure, yeah.
Why not?
That's. Is that the one? You let me know, and we can do a test here. It's
just a little behind the curtain here.
Well, this is a little peek, yeah.
Little peek.
Green screen is down here.
Okay, yeah. Try something for now.
Try something for now. Okay.
Yeah,
well,
something.
That's I can only try.
You have a conch?
Here we go.
Nothing. Darn it.
No, sorry, Maddie. It's fine.
Fine.
We'll make it through here.
We've got sausage. We've got coffee.
Get a load of this, Gazzola. Well, that's your own homemade sausage, hey, that you brought in, gifted to me this morning.
Yes.
Off the air, we had a bit of a ceremony here, but maybe in the time that Iwanek is filling in for the hangout, we can cut ourselves off a slice.
I think we should do a live taste test.
Yeah. Final hour. We'll do it. Save for the wrap.
Okay.
It'll be nice and thawed by then, and it'll all be
deal.
Good to eat.
LT, check your phone quickly.
It's not muted though. It's not muted.
No.
Yeah. We see his hands. We see his hands, Jeffrey Taylor. Yes, he couldn't be totally out of the shot, but no, that's okay. We don't need you got the conch. We can.
There sure seems to be a lot of maybe not animosity is the right word, but a lot of discussion about our guest coming up here at 7:05 with Craig Button from TSN
because of his Flames angle. Is that what it is? It's always kind of relates back to that, but
well, I think there seems to be a lot of anti-Oiler sentiment that is and listen, they broadcast out of Toronto. They live in the mecca of hockey. That's just the way it is. Now, and by the way, if you have some questions you want us to pass along, fire them off. I've got one that I got from Twitter last night, so I appreciate that. But what about this? What if the Leafs don't even make the playoffs? Do you think, A, that's a possibility?
yes.
Well, I guess it's always a possibility, but what would happen to Sportsnet and TSN?
Oh, easy. Easy. We saw it the other night when you go up. It's a little experiment that I always do. That following a Leafs win or loss, you go up to one of these sites and you say, "Hey, what's the?" And usually, if they win, it's like a post game Leafs. Well, if they lose, it's like top 50 Jays prospects.
Right.
So you can pivot.
On
There's
to
always a
something
pivot.
next.
There's always the next one to come. So that's what will happen. It's you ready for some spring training, are you? And then we'll all get the taste.
Button has really seemed to have, as of late anyways, take on quite a serious tone towards the Toronto Maple Leafs.
He's a firebrand.
Yeah, he's not happy with how things are going in Toronto. And I understand why. I mean, this Western road swing was not that favorable to them. Capped off a not so favorable January. So, I mean, I don't. Do you care? Would you be like,
About the Leafs? No.
No.
I don't. It doesn't
Me
bother
neither.
me. It doesn't shift my needle at all. But this Western road trip that they were just on, I mean, I discussed with Gage yesterday. I mean, you're beating the Kraken, you're beating the Flames. Okay. And when you're fighting for a wild card spot, I guess those are the teams around you, comparatively speaking, to the West, to the East. But you lose to the Oilers, you lose to the Canucks. So what are you? And I think if you're just going off that 4-game span, you're saying, well, they're a wild card team. They're going to fight for a playoff spot, but they have no business kind of up with the big boys right now. But we identified too this home and home with the Jets, which begins tomorrow in Toronto and wraps up Saturday out in Winnipeg. That could be a tell. Right, like that could be a measure. Like this is 2-2 on the road trip, whatever, and you can say strength of opponent or whatever. But it's this home and home with the Jets. I mean, if this kind of goes off the rails, this could be maybe the ending of maybe say a Keith, if you will, right? A Sheldon Keith. Right? You saw it here in this market, and it's the same thing, right? You maybe do the coaching change, you get a bump, and away you go. There certainly is talent on that roster, maybe albeit a little top heavy. Goaltending has been an issue as well. Coach killer. But we'll see. Tree Living maybe will move and bring in his own guy. But this Jets home and home could be really... And out west, too, you take it with a little glee, right? You have the microscope and you look at it a bit. I mean...
It sure is
It's a bit
different.
of Schadenfreude, right? Like you want to see that. You're like, ha ha ha. Like it's neat when you're seeing them struggle and everybody's wincing for words out there and everything hurts to kind of talk about.
Oh, how 30 days change everything.
Well,
right?
hey, it's but the pendulum swings again. And Ken Holland mentioned yesterday too in the presser that they were there when they started the season. The Oilers, they are here where they're at now. You do expect a bit of settling out as well as you do. They're not going to win the remainder of games of the season. But where does that settle out, and who are they when it settles out, is the question, which makes his job heading towards the trade deadline, a little more like what. It's not big moves here, but to just dress something up. But when you're winning 13, 14 in a row, it's tough to say, well, hey, where do we need to improve, or what do we need to do to...
And don't look now, but Jack Campbell's gone, I think, 8-2 in his last 10 starts?
Great to see.
Right?
Great to see.
I mean, I get it's the Bakersfield Condors, but... And yes, he should be tearing it up, but it is nice to see, especially if he can keep that going. Now, that's always a question I've had. Is that a situation, if he's hot, would you bring him back up here for the playoff run and move Pickard back down there? or would you use him as a bit of trade bait and try and move him for something else? Now, with the addition of Perry, I mean, I guess that takes care of any forward issues, I believe. Now we can simply go out there and possibly, if you're looking to move, would you now look at moving and trying to bolster up your defense?
Beef up the blue line a bit, add a little depth, right side again, perhaps. And again, at a very cheap kind of cost. But maybe
like, who is that player?
Rashad said yesterday too that he's still in the market for a little bit of center depth as well, maybe or something along those lines. But I'm with you. I think the forward group is pretty much.
It's good enough.
Yeah,
it's got that as you referred to, that sandpaper finish to it. And I think it's good enough to do the job, and that's one thing moving forward. I personally think that trade value would be what you'd want to look at out of Jack Campbell if he can keep playing. But everybody's got good memory here. It's not hard to forget what happened with him and his fall from grace, right?
YouTube Trev, I mean, Campbell, do you want to see him again in any shape or form in an Oilers jersey when games are on the line and things are mattering, or is this just beef it up in the minors, get that good feeling going again, and then parlay that into some sort of deal?
Yeah, it's definitely a tough decision. One I'm very happy I do not have to make, but I see both sides, right? Like, if he's playing good and Pickard starts to slide, then I'd maybe consider bringing him up. But for the time being, I wouldn't. They got something going pretty good, and you don't really want to mess that up unless he, if he continues rolling like this and his numbers are just miraculous by the end of the season, I think that's the play. But
it'd have to be like out of.
It would have to be, just stellar performances night in and night out. And like you said, he's looked a lot better. Like, his save percentage has gone up in that 10-game stretch. You said it's like just over 9-10 save percentage, which is pretty. That's what you want still in the NHL. Like, Stuart Skinner's is 930 in the last 20-game stretch, I think I seen, right? So that's really, really good. And so you got that, and when you're playing Calvin Pickard, and as of late, like, he's been just right. Like, he hasn't faulted or anything like that. When asked upon, he's stepped up to the occasion. He's done enough for sure. So it's just like it would end at Jack Campbell if he comes up here and just craps the bed. He put in all that work, and the fans, everything. It would look so bad, and I'd feel for the guy. And I don't know if that's something I'd want to do, because as we know, oil country can kind of go crazy on certain players. And if that were the case, like, oh gosh, like that would just ruin him. So I don't know if I want to see that.
Well, keep your opinions coming in on the nasty chat on the Paris Jewelers inbox, 780-218-9999. Pill Dickel comes in. Do not bring Campbell back! ! There's too much doubt surrounding him. Double explanation point. Jeez. Yeah. Get rid of him for what you can add another piece to the team.
Well, and bringing him back up here, there's somebody in the nasty chat, Pat Maroon's Bib, Soup will come back before trade deadline, play a few games to see if there's interest, too big of an asset to leave on the farm. And maybe you are in the middle ground of bringing him up for a look, but I don't know. I kind of go with what you're saying. Things are kind of going pretty well into.
But you're right. If that is the game plan, is to move Jack Campbell before the trade deadline, yes, you're going to have to get him back up to the NHL.
Can't just be AHL, moonlighting there.
Rick in the Donut says, if Jack earns it, sure, give him another crack in the oil crease. I don't know if it's an earn or not earn situation at this point. It's a matter of, if you keep playing that well, we're going to have to bring you up here, showcase you for a few games, and then hopefully get some value in return. Because it seems like the inconsistency is coming in as an overwhelming response to why we shouldn't, or the Oilers shouldn't, keep Jack Campbell around.
And that's another thing. The Oilers aren't really in a position to just give it a test, right? Like, they're on a heater, but if it wasn't for that terrible start of the season, they could give it a test, right? But they're just barely in, in the playoffs right now. So what? You bring them up. You take that test, and
Skinner
then,
wasn't,
and then you lose those points.
lighting the world on fire during that period either, right? I know he wasn't the starter.
Yeah, so your theory is with the better improved defensive structure with the team.
Well, things have all gotten better.
Things have all gotten better, and
that
that bleeds out and leads out, and certainly Skinner's numbers reflect that. I was saying that too. He was putting up good performances, but never in the position to steal one for the team, given the looks that the defense were not providing him or whatever in that case. So maybe there's a case there too where you say, well, the coffee's here, the defense is improved and everything, and it's a more tight button-down event, and for Campbell, that'd be a good situation to kind of get back in, but it's too much. If you were perched atop the conference, none of that happened to start the season, and you're like the Canucks and your points. I mean, you could maybe make a case. To
you could afford, yeah.
But you're right. I mean, it's to mess with that. I don't know. I just don't know. Hill Dickel, yeah, I think you read the text. Too much doubt surrounding him.
Well, and Bones comes in and brings up an interesting point. To bring up Campbell, Pickard is on waivers, and he will definitely get claimed. So you better be ready to play Rodrigue as a backup until a goalie is coming back.
And now you've messed with that whole thing. I just, right now, like the situation, and you mentioned Campbell's play as of late in the AHL, and that's all fine. But with Rodrigue doing what he's doing, Pickard up here doing just enough, as you said, YouTube, Trev, I think that's a good 1, 2, 3, 4, two guys performing good in the minor, one guy's getting his game back up to potentially salvage some sort of trade value there, if any. Yeah, he's unmovable. Jim texts in, anyone who thinks you can trade him is clueless and how the cap works. No, it would have to be a specific situation where somebody runs into some sort of injury issue, right? They have nothing to go to. They have nothing, and you say, hey, we have a here, do us a solid, we'll do it, but you're still going to give up stuff to move. It's a tough situation. And one, again, to agree with Jim, almost unmovable. But it'd have to be some sort of perfect scenario that arises where you can.
Well, and it's a situation of luxury that the Edmonton Oilers find themselves in right now because of their recent play. I pulled something up from before the Christmas break, and before the Oilers went on this heater, they had lost 4, won 3, lost 3, won 8, lost 3. I mean, so inconsistent. Now, granted, this schedule has been quite formidable, or not formidable, easy for the Oilers to come out in January and get on this streak. Now, when things start tightening up, they're going to be playing every second night pretty much for the month of February. The opponents are going to be a lot tougher. They're going to be in a lot more divisional matches. It'd be interesting to see where this team goes. Do they stay this way? And sometimes, it takes a little bit of that ember to get that fire really hot. Can they stay hot? Thankfully, the Oilers don't have to worry about Jack Campbell per se right now, especially if you have Pickard coming in, doing what he's done, which is just good enough. Has he stood on his head and been a changer, an Oilers game changer? Not really, but he's come in, provided what he's supposed to do. Skinner gets a night off. Yeah. Skinner gets rest. Yeah. And they'll need that going down the stretch. So who would have thought at the beginning of the season that the Oilers would be sitting here in pretty much in a good situation with their goaltending, considering YTT, that start that they got off to, which was dreadful.
Yeah, and I think we always, Tommy and I, we were talking in post-game, it was just the numbers weren't there for Stuart Skinner, right? But I don't know, it was the whole team, right? It wasn't necessarily just him, but he is the last line of defense, right? So all that falls on him, right? When the goals are going in, but the teams look just so much better. How many tap-ins have you seen, right? That was all you were seeing at the beginning of the season when we were on location at Kingsway for the Oilers versus Carolina game. Carolina come out, that was the last stretch. We talked about it a little bit yesterday, but it was just tap in. We talked about it at length, all the rush goals that were getting scored against on the Oilers. They just did not know how to. So it's a lot of just the team playing way, way better in front of Stuart Skinner, which has just allowed him to be way better, right?
Well, even was it last game they gave up 3 breakaways in the first period?
Seattle's against Seattle.
Seattle.
Yeah.
But 2? I guess 2 of them did go in, didn't they?
Yeah.
Jeez. But that's the thing. There's a great example. The this is what the Oilers did at the end of last season, right? They just would not be beat. They would say, okay, whatever, you got too early on us. How you knew, as the Edmonton Oilers community and fandom, you knew that they were going to be able to come back, or at least they had the chance of coming back. And squeaking out a win, overtime, whatever, getting a point. They're starting to feel that same way, aren't they? Whereas you go into any game, and okay, you get down a goal early, or you're down going into the third
You got
period.
him just where you want him at this point. Yeah,
almost, because you know that you have the horses up front, Tombstone,
or in the bar,
quote, or in the bar, to get the job done, which is a very, very good place to be. And it's reminiscent, at least that's what it feels like to me. It's reminiscent of that powerhouse that we don't care. We're going to come out and whoop your butt and finish this game out and close it out. Just seems like that the Oilers team has that swagger back, and it started. I hate to say it, right out. When the coaching change happened, this all, granted he had this favorable January schedule, but you have to say something happened with Knobloch, and I talked about it last time I was on the Hangout. Is Paul Coffey? There has to be some fallout from having a legendary player. Coach in Paul Coffey come on as you coaching your defensive unit.
Hope you're listening, Leafs Nation. Hope you're listening. We do have Craig Button coming up here. We'll do a sports update here as well with Jay Milne. Craig Button from TSN on the other side of the hour. You're listening to the Nielson Show on EdmontonSportsTalk.com.
All right, this Sports Rewind is brought to you by Universal Rewind, reminding you that regular motor maintenance will prevent costly downtime. Contact them today to learn more about their motor maintenance services. Choose experience, expertise, and quality. Choose Universal Rewind. It was a quiet night in the NHL last night. The mighty Winnipeg Jets were taken down by Boston 4-1. Fun fact, the Jets allowed more than 3 goals for the first time since November 2nd. That is a long time to not allow 3 goals. Tyler Toffoli caps his second hat trick in overtime as the Devils knock off the Golden Knights 6-5. And the Canucks stay hot as they defeat the Chicago Blackhawks 2-0. In the NBA, the Toronto Raptors fall to last place in the Eastern Conference as they lose to the Memphis Grizzlies 108-100. And Joel Embiid, he went off last night. The battle between he and the tall guy, Wembanyama, was overshadowed by the big fella, Joel Embiid, as he poured in 70 points and 18 rebounds on the way to a 133-123 victory over the San Antonio Spurs. And although the Oilers signed Corey Perry yesterday, he will not dress tonight, but the Oilers will be hosting the Columbus Blue Jackets at 7 p.m. Calvin Pickard is expected to get the start in net, and you can join our very own Tom Gazzola, Matt Cassian, and the newly armed man, Matty Wanek. The Oilers stream pre- and post-game show starts at 5:30 right here on Edmonton Sports Talk. EST weather. Today, the forecast calls for mainly sunny skies with a high of -7, and warmer temperatures are on the way as we move towards the weekend. They're calling for 0 on Friday. Currently, it is partly cloudy and -11. This Sports Rewind has been brought to you by Universal Rewind. I'm Jay Milne, and you're up to date.
The Nielson Show featuring Lieutenant Eric. Only on Edmonton Sports Talk.
Listening to the Nielson Show right here on Edmonton Sports Talk. Lieutenant Eric with you in place for Dustin Nielson, who is scheduled to return tomorrow. Jay Milne joining us this morning, and YouTube Trev, as always, behind the monitors, keeping things real. Do have a bit of an audio issue this morning, but that's okay. We got through the opening an hour, and we are trucking. We are flying through, and we will be joined by our first guest of the day, Mr. Craig Button of TSN. It's brought to you by Pro-Am Sports, your locally owned sports memorabilia and apparel specialists. You can find them just north of the Yellowhead on St. Albert Trail at 128th Avenue, or you can check them out on the World Wide Web, www.proamsports.ca. Like you, they are sports nerds and AM nasties too. Still waiting for Craig, taking a few more practice pitches there in the bullpen, jacket on one arm. I know he's been getting lit up here in the nasty chat. Either Leafs love or Oilers hate or all love. People typing feverishly with their caps lock on. I don't care if he goes for the Leafs. I'm just pointing out that he will act a certain way.
There's a lot of caps locks.
A lot of yelling this morning. People have, I think, Joel Lavoie, you have your cap. It seems like your caps lock is stuck. All you've been doing is tweeting caps locks all morning. It's a little tough on the eyes there, but I mean, you do you. The nasty chat is without rules and without boundaries. RCN chiming in as always. Love to see us. Saying Button loves the Flames is like saying Chiarelli loves the Oilers. Ooh. Slap that on a text and set it in 780-218-9999. You could be up for the text of the day in our Paris Jewelers inbox. $20 to A&W on the line. The Leafs are crap, blah, blah, blah. And Joe Balaneski going to get some coffee as well. So I hope you're all settled in as we await here. Craig Button joining us, should be joining us in a matter of moments. Of course, his thoughts on Corey Perry. Joining with the Oilers yesterday. Of course, they had the media available with Corey Perry and GM Ken Holland. Ken, a little surprised. He went down Saturday. He thought this was going to be a big surprise for Oil Country here, and Cat was out of the bag. He kind of wanted to keep that one under wraps. I kind of feel bad as he wanted to kind of make that announcement, but with the internet nowadays,
good luck. Good luck.
Things travel fast, and you know about it before it's even executed.
Not like you're meeting in Minnesota.
Yeah, I mean, or
down the highway,
on the rocks downtown, or whatever it was. So we'll get to a Button with that as well. The Oilers back on the ice tonight. They're at home to the Columbus Blue Jackets. Probably ask his thoughts, I guess, is the nasty chat requesting on a little bit of Leafs talk as well. So we're just. I think Craig is there, right? He's there in spirit, or he's.
Yeah. He was there. Now it's frozen, but the camera was flipped. So I just messaged him to tell him to flip the camera. But now it's frozen, so he just has to reconnect, and then he'll be on.
Man, see, I'm telling you, everything was going right yesterday. It's anti-Oilers season here, and then this morning the pendulum swings back, and we're kind of going. We might be eating more of this than we thought, just to kill some time here on the show today, right?
I've never had music, so this is.
Well, I guess me. You don't know any different, right? During the holidays there.
It don't faze me.
Hey, there's Craig. Craig Button, TSN. How you doing today, Craig?
I'm doing good. Although listening to that conversation with caps locks, I want to make everything very clear, and for everybody listening, okay. I hate all 32 teams in the league equally. I don't like any team. I hate them all because it's amazing. Fandom. Oh, you like this team. You don't like our team. You know what? I said it last week about the Leafs. Handle the truth. When your team's no good, I'm going to tell you your team's no good. When your team's good, I'm going to tell you that your team's good. When I like something, I'll tell you I like it. And when I don't like it, I'll tell you I don't like it.
That's why I love you, Craig. And let's just start there. You're fired up already, and I love it. The Leafs, go. They just had their Western Canadian road trip, a bit of a 2-2. This home and home with the Jets, though, could be rather telling. Prove to the people, prove to the Nasties this morning your hatred of one of those teams in the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Well, I love the Jets. I think the Jets, they're the best defensive team in the National Hockey League, right?
Yeah.
I mean, what do I have to tell everybody? And have you not watched the Leafs for the last 5 years? They are what they are. Just kid yourselves if you think that they're Stanley Cup contenders. They are so gifted offensively because of those players, those four players, Morgan Riley, and we know how good. If they committed just even just half the effort that they do offensively to their defensive play, they'd be a lot better. They're soft defensively. They don't have a lot of resolve defensively. They only play one direction, and no wonder that they have all kinds of problems defensively. That's what I see in their team, and that's what I've seen for the last number of years. And nothing's changed in my view. I don't care if you go in and you beat Seattle. Bottom line for me is the same things that have plagued this team for years continue to plague this team, and I don't see any signs of improvement. And so you've won one playoff round in 7 years. Way to go. Have a parade.
Clip it.
Yeah, we need that clip, yeah. Craig, everybody here is just so happy that you read the nasty chat before you came on, so that's awesome. Hey, I wanted to ask you, just before you had come on, we'd rehashed the Oilers, I guess, the wins and losses pre-January, leading up to this heater that they're currently on. They were up and down, inconsistent play, and then boom. Now they've turned out 13 going on, hopefully 14 straight wins tonight. What do you think has contributed to that level of consistency, and what's the thing that stands out to you that would say that this is why the Oilers have been able to go on this tear as of late?
The exact opposite of the Toronto Maple Leafs, a commitment to defense, a commitment to – it doesn't take a lot of – like I shouldn't say skill. You know, you need a level of skill to play in the National Hockey League. But what you need more than anything to play really good defensively is a level of will, a level of competitive spirit that you're going to fight for your space. You're not going to let the opponent get there. You're not going to swing by position. You're going to be disciplined in what you do in terms of your defensive structure. You're going to come back hard. You know, the other night against Calgary, I'm watching the game Saturday night, and there was a play in the third period, and Calgary is trying to get the puck into the zone. And Edmonton just keeps squeezing them. They squeeze them where they have no options. Well, one time they did have an option. They chip it back. Well, who's down below the goal line? Connor McDavid. On the puck, boom, it's out. You know, the ability to squeeze a team defensively, work from the inside out, that's what the Edmonton Oilers are doing. They didn't do it before the coaching change. They were really poor in it. They created all kinds of vulnerability. Now you watch them play their positional structure, their positional discipline, their commitment, their resolve. That's what's led to this. The offense has always been there, and the offense is always going to be there. Keep this in mind, guys. In the first 13 games of the season, the Oilers were at the bottom of the league defensively. They are now top 5, top 10 in just about every single defensive category. And that's after the poor start. Does anybody complain about Darnell Nurse anymore? No. Does anybody complain about Stuart Skinner anymore? No, because the team as a collective have worked hard to be really good defensively. They don't need goals. They just got to make sure they don't create vulnerability. That's what's led to success. That's why I watch this team play in Edmonton, and I think that they have absolutely put themselves in Stanley Cup contender category. Getting Holloway, signing Corey Perry solidifies that forward group. And I think that the play under Chris Knobloch and with Paul Coffey assisting him has been outstanding and in the defensive area of the game.
TSN's Craig Button joining us, brought to you by Pro-Am Sports. He is your hockey insider for this Tuesday morning. And I guess we'll go there, Craig. Corey Perry, of course, acquired by the Oilers following the contract termination from the Blackhawks. Him and Ken Holland had their media avail yesterday. And you astutely as well bring up Dylan Holloway, which, you know, I know some people, trade acquisition or whatever, but this is another warm body coming in to help after he was turning things on prior to his injury. So your thoughts on Holloway and Perry getting added to the mix, and then if you could also just your thoughts on where Ken might go from here. Still up against it in cap-wise, but you could still, I guess, look around and say maybe in addition to the blue line, maybe a little depth there, maybe, if you will, in net. I don't know if that topic is so much as hot as it used to be, but your thoughts on Holloway, Perry, and then where does Kenny maybe take this thing moving forward?
Okay, I'll start with Dylan. And Dylan is a big body. He's weighty. He can skate. You know, health, injuries, maybe not health is the right way to put it, but injuries have derailed him to this point in his career. And I think that Dylan Holloway finding a rhythm, finding an ability to be in the lineup on a regular basis adds elements to the team. You know, maybe earlier in the season or even last year, you were hoping for more offense. I think he can find his way offensively now because the skating, the heavy play that he can deliver, I think is really important when you're adding depth into your forward group. And I think that Dylan can deliver on that. Corey Perry, you know, people say, well, they don't need him for the power play. Yeah, I get it. But what Corey Perry does is he digs. He digs and he battles and he gets, I think Kenny talked about grit, greasy, everything that goes with it. Corey Perry has won absolutely everything you could possibly ask anybody to win. There's only one other player that's won as many championships as him at all different levels. That's Scott Niedermayer. And Corey Perry, there's nobody in the Edmonton Oilers locker room that knows what it takes like Corey Perry. So when Corey Perry pushes back and Corey Perry says, hey, this is what we got to do, who's going to push back? Nobody's going to push back. That's what you call credibility. It's gravitas. And that's what Corey Perry delivers. Not just the size. He's going to help the team in a lot of different areas just through his play, but just his personality off the ice and on the ice is a significant boost to this forward group. And so along with Dylan Holloway, you know, when you're at the cap like the Edmonton Oilers at, you got to work on the margins. Ken Holland has worked, in my view, in a really significant manner on the margins to add players. I mean, Dylan comes back from injury, but to add Corey Perry, I think that that's a really significant add. So now you go into the trade deadline. I think anybody will tell you, oh, depth on defense. I think, Calvin Pickard has come in and given them steady goaltending because in front of them they played so well defensively. Yeah. So, maybe there's a goaltender out there that you might want to add. You look at it to try to just kind of give yourself sometimes just comfort. It's not even so much about, okay, what are you going to ask him that player to do, but just comfort. The blue line, again, everybody's looking for a little bit of depth on the blue line. But let's not forget that the Oilers, have some defensemen that are in the minors. They have some defensemen that, obviously Desharnais has played really, really well. Their structure, their discipline has been really strong. So I'm not so sure right now that, tinkering at the edges might be where Ken Holland goes. But the way the team is playing and Holloway healthy and Corey Perry coming in, I think is really positive.
Your thoughts too, Patrick Waugh back in the NHL, hey, behind the bench again. I mean, clean shaven. He's got his first win, and then the first road game, coincidentally coming up in Montreal. Just your thoughts for the league as a whole. I know you don't like any of the teams, you hate all the teams aside from the Winnipeg Jets. But Patrick Waugh back behind the bench. This is good for the league, right?
Listen, I love Patrick Waugh. So much has been made out of Patrick Waugh's exit from Colorado. That was almost 8 years ago. Yeah. I have spent time around Patrick's teams. I've spent time around Patrick. Patrick is no less fiery, but he's measured and he's learned and grown from those experiences. Go back and look at his record in Colorado. He won the Coach of the Year. He didn't have a losing record there. Watching him nurture those young players in Quebec and route to the Memorial Cup, and it didn't start last year. It didn't start the year before. It started when they were 16 years of age going in there. He nurtured them. He helped them grow, not only like individually, but also collectively as a group. And being around Patrick, he knows, and I think that he returns to the NHL a wiser player, a wiser person, no less competitive, no less fiery, but understanding how he can deal and direct the team and the individuals there. I said it last summer. I think that whoever gets Patrick Waugh is going to get somebody that's going to help your team be successful. I think there's a number of teams that missed out on Patrick Waugh, that didn't understand that where he was 8 years ago or almost 8 years ago is not where he is today. Good on the New York Islanders, good on Lou Lamoriello. And I will add this. He hired Jacques Lemaire. They won the Cup in 95. He hired Larry Robinson as head coach. They won the Cup in 2000. He hired Pat Burns. They won the Cup in 2003. Yeah, is there a pattern here? Yeah, Lou has dipped into the Montreal Canadiens' winning history once again. The team is not a Stanley Cup contender at this point in time, but I don't have any question in my mind that Patrick can get them to a level where they can start thinking about competing for a Stanley Cup once again, and Lou knows.
As we sit here right now, Vancouver is 15 points ahead of the Oilers. Vegas is 7 points ahead of the Oilers. Can the Edmonton Oilers come back and win the Pacific Conference?
No, not at all. They can get to second place. You talk about how many points that is. You got less than half a season, and that means you got to win 8 more games than the Vancouver Canucks win to pass them. I know they're going to play them, but I think that their sights have to be on the Vegas Golden Knights. They got a number of games in hand on the Vegas Golden Knights, and when you try to get home ice advantage in the first round of the playoffs, I think that that's really significant. So that's where I would set my sights on for the Edmonton Oilers. A month ago, I said, hey, I thought, well, maybe not a month ago, but 3 weeks ago, I said, hey, they're gonna be a wild card team. I had no doubt about it. But I think second place in the Pacific right now is a realistic and one that's very achievable for the Edmonton Oilers.
And Craig, just one more before we let you go, and we appreciate your time as always this morning. I know you spend a lot of time prospects, Hockey Canada, and everything like that. If you wanted to share a thought on the AJHL and the top 5, the big 5 teams going over BCHL and the schism or split with Hockey Canada, any thoughts or any regard to that, and where do you see kind of that level of hockey evolving to, I guess, nationwide as we move forward following this decision?
Yeah, not sure where it'll go nationwide, Eric. But what I'll say about this, I mean, the Hockey Canada. I mean, under the umbrella of Hockey Canada, I mean that you know they've separated the BCHL, separated themselves. Obviously, those 5 teams going over are separating themselves from Hockey Canada. That's a different conversation. But ultimately, is in my view, you know what the BCHL and now the AJHL, those 5 teams coming over, they're trying to create a higher level of junior A competition. I don't know if it's possible because to do that, the 5 teams coming from the AJHL, the 5 teams in the BCHL, you might have a 10-team league, but what do you do with the rest of your teams in the BCHL? And, you know, there's lots of changes coming in the NCAA with respect to eligibility for players going into the NCAA that doesn't exist now. And I don't think it's a question of if, it's a question of when. So some of these moves, you know, and trying to push your level of competition higher, I understand from a competitive point of view, but there's going to be some unintended consequences when you look at how these teams, you know, the travel, the costs, and there's going to be attrition because some teams are not going to be able to compete at the level financially with some of the teams that are going to make up the BCHL or added to the number of the BCHL. So, and I'll be straightforward here. Like, you know, it's a really good path for a lot of good players. But the problem that I see that's one is that once you commit to the BCHL, you're limited in what your options are in the rest of Canada. And, you know, when you're 17, 18, 19 years of age and you're limiting your options with respect to being able to play, it might not work out for you in that league. But where do you go if it doesn't work out for you in that league? Right now, because of the sanctions that Hockey Canada has put on the BCHL, it becomes something that kids are going to have to really think about. And that's where I'm at mostly, is the kids making decisions, understanding what the potential consequences could be.
We're all at the peril of time. None of us control it. We can only surf through it as best as we can, and I appreciate you, Craig, as well, surfing through this brief moment in time with us this morning. Dustin Nielson will be back hopefully next Tuesday, but appreciate your time this morning, Craig, and enjoy your week, man.
I'll be in Cabo next week when we talk. So speaking of surfing, maybe I'll get right on the beach and do this.
We'll put it on the map. Would love to see it, man. Enjoy. Have a great trip.
Thanks.
That's Craig Button, TSN's Craig Button, a hater and a lover, brought to you by Pro-Am Sports, your locally owned sports memorabilia and apparel specialists. You can check them out just north of the Yellowhead on St. Albert Trail, 128th Avenue, or visit them online, proamsports.ca. Like you, they are sports nerds and AM nasties, too. Craig couldn't buy a W, hey? He comes out, he says he hates all teams equally. He then says almost in the same breath that he loves the Jets, which great comedy there.
And it did not fall far on our listeners' ears.
No, but
there was many of you pointing that out.
Marco, Button's clueless. We have 5 games in hand on Vancouver. Of course we can catch them. He's probably a Leafs fan, and I responded to, he needs to say they'll win the cup like Oilers fan favorite Greg Wyshynski, who, when you say in this market that, like, when you give the Oilers credit, everybody's like, that's a curse. You cursed them. Yeah,
right. What do you want him to do?
Saravalli picked them to win the cup the other years back, and Franco, how dare you? Why would you say something like that? Why would you even go there? And then, on the other side, if you have some sort of, negative thing or something to say that the club, they hate the Oilers, like, you cannot win. You absolutely cannot
win.
You can't. And people, for Craig, I mean, look, everybody needs somebody to hate. And if Craig Button's that punching bag, I'm sure he'll be glad to absorb the blows, hey?
Oh, he has no problem.
He loves
with
it.
I think
loves it.
It's safe to say he's used to it. I think.
And again, I don't think as well, if Button was ever right about anything, he'd still have a job as a GM. Well, I know a lot of GMs currently employed also make some bad moves from time to time.
Nobody's perfect.
It's the world. But we love his opinion, and he's always on fire with it.
As an analyst, you have to have takes. You have to have takes that are going to be wrong. You're going to have some takes that are right. But you have to put yourself out there, which he constantly does. In the massive lights of the TSN studios. So I don't mind Craig Button. I think he's a very informative young man who's going to be informing us from a Speedo in Cabo.
Yeah, well, Scott Kaufman suggests he might be hitting up one of those clothless beaches.
Clothless.
Clothless.
I like clothless.
But we appreciate his time, of course, Hockey Insiders. Craig Button specifically today, brought to you by Pro-Am Sports. It is time for we'll do Cool Bet Hotline and then maybe head into a sports prior to confessions, Coolbet Canada hotline of the day. Coolbet, I got the merch on again, 2 days in a row. Look at that, Coolbet, great apparel here as well. Check them out if you're placing any and all bets sports-wise. Coolbet Canada, coolbet.com. Jay, you got anything? Are you looking at anything? You got a hotline, a hot read? You leaning anywhere for tonight's action?
Oh, I'm leaning.
Okay,
I'm leaning.
Are we looking local here?
I'm leaning local. Yeah, and I'll tell you why. The line currently for over/under on the Oilers Columbus Blue Jackets game tonight is 6.5. Mm-hmm. Now we've got Pickard. Mm-hmm. Okay, we've also got Tarasov, who's 2-4, and both of their goals against averages would suggest that this is highly likely to go over 6.5.
Big event.
So that is my Coolbet hotline pick of the day.
This is
over
great.
6.5.
Over 6.5. The Columbus Blue Jackets, they're letting in a lot of goals this season. Of course, dead last.
And the Oilers are scoring a lot of goals
in the Met. Well, they're the results have been pretty tight. They've kept the opposition under the ones, the twos, a 3 maybe mixed in. But they've been locking that down defensively, and then on the opposite side, not having to really have big offensive explosions. But maybe tonight's the night that the dams break, and we see a little bit of. I like that. I like where you're going here. A little bit of action, a little bit of high scoring.
You like that?
Yeah. I don't mind that with the old CBJ in town tonight. Oilers and Blue Jackets, of course. The Oil Stream pre and post game shows with Tom Gazzola and YouTube Trev and others gets going at 5:30 today right here on Edmonton Sports Talk. The boys will set you up for the game as they normally do, and then they'll knock it down again following tonight's action with the post-game show. You can have your voice heard, whether it's the Nasty Chat or the Paris Jewelers inbox, 780-218-9999. I'm your Buttonberry, says Jonathan, texting in. He's coming hard for that A&W, $20 to A&W online for text of the day. Of course, incorporating Craig Button into the Tombstone Tuesday affair. Let's see what else here. Rick and Jasper, is that why Gretzky was such an amazing coach? This is going back to the other conversation we were having as well with Paul Coffey and former players coaching. Well, again, just like GMs, not everybody gets it right 100% of the time, and the broken clock is right twice a day or whatever it is, and you kind of want to be somewhere in the middle, right? Like you're not going to get them all right, but.
Well, and Savage the Plumber has hopped onto the Nasty Chat, and he is definitely fading my pick. I don't blame you, because I don't know anything.
Well, look, if you want to channel some Mr. Lean energy and say it's just a lean, that's fine by me as well. I know HR Daddy.
Who knows?
Lay
Nobody
down a loony.
knows.
The HR Daddy bet. You put a loony on the table and say, let it ride there. Yeah, but that is your Coolbet Canada hotline of the day. Either follow Jay Milne to the bank or not. It's totally up to you. Stay cool, bet responsibly. Right?
I'd say, as of right now, your odds are good to do that. One of either of those two things, win or lose. You got good odds there.
One of those two, yeah. You're not pushing for the old tie.
Safe to say.
It's not
Safe to say.
That is a hell of a thing for you to say to me, George Delgado. I assume he's talking about the over here. Wow, Dusty is gone, and they still only talk about gambling. Yeah, it's sarcastic. This one guy tuned in one morning, and just it didn't happen. As you do, you happen to tune in on a commute or whatever, and you catch a minute.
Sure.
And, it's all gambling. Well, it's not all gambling, but we do have a dedicated segment daily, brought to you by our good friends at Coolbet. That's how
kind
these
of the way
work.
this works.
Yeah, if you want the full, though, it'll be Hustler again later this morning on the Lock Shop, 11 to noon, right here on Edmonton Sports Talk, probably joined by some of the other boys down Toronto way in Pat Gregoire and Jake Bolin-Moss. And then you got two guys in a goalie also coming up later today to round out the live portion of Edmonton Sports Talk. And, of course, sandwiched in between and after this program, the hangout with Matthew Iwanek. Could be running a little late today as he'll be getting some work done on his injured wing, so stay tuned for that. We do have weekly confessions coming up just to end the hour and take us up to 8 o'clock. But ahead of that, let's get into everything you need to know in the sporting world of the Sports Update, courtesy Jay Milne.
Okay, this Sports Update was brought to you by Mitch Lewicki and the staff at Park Mazda. Mitch is always thinking one step ahead, like a carpenter that makes stairs. Oh, these liners. They get me every time. Quiet night in the NHL last night. The mighty Winnipeg Jets were taken down by Boston 4-1. Fun fact, the Jets allowed more than 3 goals for the first time since November 2nd. They are hot. Tyler Toffoli caps his second hat trick in overtime as the Devils knock off the Golden Knights 6-5, and the Canucks stay hot as they defeated the Chicago Blackhawks 2-0. In the NBA, the Toronto Raptors fall to last place. Wah, wah, wah. In the Eastern Conference, as they lose to the Memphis Grizzlies 108-100, and Joel Embiid went off last night. The battle between he and the tall man, Wembanyama, was overshadowed by the big fella as he poured in 70 points and 18 rebounds on the way to a 133-123 victory over the San Antonio Spurs. And although the Oilers signed Corey Perry yesterday, he will not dress tonight as the Oilers host the Columbus Blue Jackets at 7 p.m. But fear not, our very own Tom Gazzola, Matt Cassian, and the newly armed man, Matty Wanek, will be hosting the Oil Stream pre- and post-game show right here on Edmonton Sports Talk. That kicks off at 5:30. EST weather. Today, the forecast calls for mainly sunny skies with a high of -7 and warmer temperatures as we move toward the weekend. Currently calling for 0 on Friday. This is great. Currently, it is partly cloudy and -11. This sports update has been brought to you by Park Mazda. I'm Jay Milne, and you're up to date.
Hi there. If you're like me, you like to picture yourself in luxury, even though there's absolutely no way you could afford it. And if you can, well, even better. Thankfully, I picture myself in something that is luxury, but still absolutely affordable, like the all-new Mazda CX-90 from Park Mazda. With the new luxury features like facial recognition settings and quilted detail Napa leather seating, I can pretend to be comfortable with all of my proper settings activated without even touching a button, thanks to Mitch Lewicki and the great staff at Park Mazda. I like to picture Mitch Lewicki as newborn 8-pound, 6-ounce Mitch Lewicki. You can picture grown-up Mitch, or teenage Mitch, or bearded Mitch, or whoever you want.
Park Mazda, your dealer for life in Sherwood Park off Y Road, parkmazda.ca.
The Nielson Show featuring Lieutenant Eric. Only on Edmonton Sports Talk.
Listening to the Nielson Show, EdmontonSportsTalk.com. That reminds me as well, the newest episode of the Achy Breaky podcast has dropped. Episode 1 of Season 3. And we kicked Season 3 off as we ended Season 2 with a little Reba McEntire. My distaste for her has only grown. But she will be singing the Star-Spangled Banner at the Super Bowl 58. And that is in Vegas, February 11th. You can join the entire Edmonton Sports Talk crew for Super Bowl 58. We will be live at the Centric Casino Sports Bar and Lounge, Centric Casino Fort Road, for the big game. I believe we have the rooms either rented or in the process of being rented. It's going to get sloppy and it's going to be nasty. You don't want to miss out. Renee will be there. Menu items under $10, beer and drink specials throughout the day, and prizes to be won. You can't wait. I'm sure you have a room. You have multiple rooms maybe already booked. Is that?
Who
is
knows?
That why,
Maybe I have the suite.
I've fallen in love with that casino over the course of the NFL season. Of course, I was there for Monday and Thursday nighters. But anytime you can get and look, we had a little bit of a group that would join, and it was like pretty intimate atmosphere. Renee, Savage the Plumber, Box Pounder, to name a few. But when it's the big event, it's the Super Bowl, like that, and then Dusty's on it, like Dusty's doing that, and then everybody loves Dusty. So when he's on it, then it like grows even more. So really looking forward to this one. Should be a gas. It might be one of those days, too, where we take an EST stat on the Monday and kind of alter the programming, maybe just do a hangout from 9 to whatever and recap the Super Bowl. But it's going to be wild. It's going to be fun. And if you're looking for something to do, I know watching at home and soaking your feet and eating some soup is always a very interesting possibility for Super Bowls. But live a little. Let your hair down. Join us, Centric Casino Sports Bar and Lounge, once again, February 11th. And if you want, I do believe Renee's taking table bookings if you want to go that route.
That just came in on the nasty chat. Do we have to sign up for the Super Bowl party, or is it first come, first served?
And in the past, hosting these events too, usually for AFC and NFC Championship Sunday, is that I just said it's a big event. It's a big game.
It's going to be packed.
I would if it was just me and I was, going down the street. No, it's a Super Bowl. And if I had friends going, I would want to set aside a table just for a peace of mind. I don't think that's a bad play. Give them a call today. Tell them Edmonton Sports Talk sent you. you want to get maybe a seat at the bar, if maybe it's just yourself, if you have a group, a few friends, see what they can do there. But I would suggest maybe checking that out. You might as well. It's a big event, big day. You don't want to show up 5 minutes before kickoff expecting to get a table of 8. And, oh, sorry, we're kind of packed. And then
That would be foolish.
I have seen that happen so many times, and just the shock. You do not have a table sitting around for 8?
But I'm wearing my jersey
on a big sports day. So
tell you what, Lieutenant Eric, if I had friends, I'd invite them, and I'd tell them, if I had friends, I'd tell them to book a table early.
you like to be one of those guys with no friends. You book the table of 8, and then as people start showing up, yeah, I can. Oh,
Hey.
yeah, you can take this chair. You can.
Want to join me?
Because then you're the savior, right? Like you're that bottom of the ninth
It's
guy.
a win-win.
Yeah,
You're probably going to get a free round out of it. You're going to look like you have friends because your table's going to eventually become full.
Yeah, stuff happened. They couldn't make it. but
Maybe I've
you
already
can-
done that.
Yeah. Now that's a play. That's a play. Maybe this could be one of your confessions, a proactive confession, if you will, as we get into weekly confessions. And it's brought to you by Spectrum Rental, where they confess to having found out that 6 o'clock or lager is best enjoyed at 6 p.m. and not 6 a.m. Spectrum Rental, keeping your project on time. You can check them out online as well. Big fans of the 6 o'clock or lager, which will be poured at Century Casino Sports Bar and Lounge for the Super Bowl, out of the can, not on the tap. So you can kind of, you know what I'm doing there, right?
I believe that's called a gunshot.
We'll get it going. It's the tall boys as well, so it's even better. I took down
Ooh.
a pair of those at Alley Cat Brewing, the launch night there. I don't know if you got a load of that. That was
I saw all the videos. And beer cheese.
pure cheese.
I
And
could
again,
not talk about
$10 menu items under $10. I just go back to the Super Bowl here. It's going to be a great day. It's going to be affordable. It's going to be fun. And
Lieutenant Eric, there's free parking there, isn't there? Free underground parking?
you have underground parking there. A nice little nugget of information as well for the Century Casino.
Might be a little bit of a chilly day.
You never know, but they have that option. And it is a huge parking lot. Lots of cameras around as well for security. So it's if you want to leave your car, as you should, if you're enjoying yourself overnight. So yes, but please give them a call, reach out to them. It can't hurt, and it doesn't hurt to be a little proactive. But we get into confessions brought to you by Spectrum Rental. Jay, I'll start with you. You're the guest. I think it would be only right to see what you've got on your mind, what's been bothering you, driving you wild. You did tease something earlier in the show.
Well, I did tease something earlier. And this is a confession. It is a celebration. It is magnificent. And it's just about my my futures that I bet.
Oh, gambling again.
Oh, God.
Here we
Turn
go.
the radio off. No, every year, the day after the Super Bowl, my buddy and I, we pick 4 teams each, just flyers that we're going to say are going to be in the Super Bowl next year.
Okay.
Or win the Super Bowl.
Is it 2 from a conference, or do you just
No,
anything?
just random.
Just
We
pick
don't tell,
random.
and it's not a lot of money. So we do that the day after the Super Bowl. Actually, usually the evening of the Super Bowl after it ends, because the odds that come out are crazy. So we currently have Detroit, San Francisco, Kansas City, and Baltimore. So I confess to having some very tough decisions to make, because some of these are going to have to get cashed out. I just don't know which ones. YTT, do you have anything that you would like to confess?
Yeah, maybe come back to me in 30 seconds. Oh, I was thinking, I'm like, what do I have to
You
confess?
got to clean it up a bit.
Yeah, man. Well, this is the one I think
Substitute,
I was.
cross out the sex scenes.
Yeah. I was telling Dusty, I was like, I'm pretty open book. I don't really have anything to confess. Yeah, I might be able to think of one. Just give me a sec.
That's fine. I confess that I am in the process of adopting a cat. Meow. That's what they do. And in this process, I must confess that I found myself rather frustrated. And I also must confess that I do have a slight allergy to pet dander, if it is of the long-haired
Feline variety?
or dog. I mean, but a long, like lots of dander, like one of those animals, like the pet. So I can't be around that. It's got to be like a short-haired, like a not a Siamese, or like not a skinless, but a shorter-haired, more danderless animal, whether dog, cat, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So myself and my wife, who's been spearheading this endeavor, she really wants the cat. And whatever. So we go through this agency, because I want to kind of layer it, shall we say? I want to see the cat, touch it. Okay, I feel good. Then you get a week trial. Then you see it, again, just for the allergy purposes. And if I can there's the option of going and just buying one, and you bring it home and it turns out to be a real a-hole or whatever the case is, right? Like I want to go, so there's this process. So what we did here, and get this, I had to provide references that they phoned, which led me to think, like, why am I going to give anybody a bad reference? Am I going to, like, I gave my brother and his wife or whatever, but were they going to say anything bad? Like, why would I, you're always going to get a good reference from people, right?
Oh, man,
Like,
I'd
why
love
would I
to
give
hear
somebody
those
in their-
conversations.
Well, hey, can this guy actually have a cat? No, he's terrible with animals. Like, why would I give? So anyways, so that was kind of bizarre. So the references, boom, checked out. The next step was, Jay, over the weekend here, this foster family that takes these animals in, and then their job is to give the animal away, essentially. They've had this one for like a year. I'm like, okay, well, that a lot can happen in a year in terms of forming a relationship or an attachment. Thank you. So they come by your house to kind of check that out, and they let the cat out of the bag, and it runs around a bit, and it seems pretty cool with the house. Like, everything's kind of matching up. The vibes are high.
Vibes are good.
Shall we say. My wife is just loving it. She has a connection. And I, too. I walked up to the thing. I was like, smell my finger, as it does, and it gets the scent, and I pet it, and I'm taking deep breaths. Everything feels fine.
Yeah.
Cool. So the people, the fosters, they're kind of like, yeah, it's pretty specific eating and all this stuff. And I'm like, oh, no problem. That seems good. So after this little meet and greet visit, the next step is to get that week-long trial, right? Comes, stays with us for a week. It brings all of its stuff in there, and we get to live with it for a week before we finally make the choice to whether or not I can handle the allergies and we keep it and everything. So it's good. I love the staggered process. You're clearing all these hurdles because you want it to be a sure thing. The visit happened Saturday. Yesterday, my wife gets a message saying, well, they decided to keep the cat.
No!
Why then? And I must confess, this whole process is supposed to be very streamlined and make it a lot easier for you to make the decision. I have been left very frustrated. I've been left very, maybe it's me. You have to think it's me. They come over, they see our house, they see us, and then 48 hours later, now we're not giving the cat away. What did I do? I'm very frustrated, and I feel a little distressed. Now, look, we don't live in squalor. Our house is from the 60s. It's not a brand new show home, but a cat doesn't need a show home. We keep it clean. We're very merry people. The vibes were high, as I said.
I mean, you guys, that cat smelled your finger.
We formed a bond.
You have a relationship.
And I'm just saying, to take that all the way down to the end, you've checked out the references. We've done the visit. We've done it all.
You know what I'd do? I'd call the Paw Patrol. I'd put Chase on this case. We need you, Paw Patrol.
This might bleed into the I Got Beef, which we usually have Wednesday mornings, and I might even bring it up again because Dustin's not here and he might not get to hear this story, but I must confess that my whole faith in the pet adoption foster system was totally thrown out the window yesterday.
And it should be, what is going on? This is brutal. I want you to publicly name this company in public. No, just kidding. Can we share phone numbers?
It's not the company, and it's one of these things.
But,
the process of dealing with pets and rescues. I mean, there's so many, and you just kind of have to keep going and keep going. But I just thought, you get to the like we're final minute of play in regulation time,
yeah,
and to kind of snatch it out. I don't know. It's kind of a bad play. And maybe, just maybe, you shouldn't be, fostering with the hopes of giving something
what
up.
What are you doing? Lieutenant Eric, I feel bad. I feel bad because you had everything. You were doing everything way. You were doing things over. You didn't have to do all that. You could have just went and got it.
I could have just went and got one,
right?
But I wanted to go.
But you wanted to do the right things to make sure that this cat
wasn't
going to affect you personally. I mean, dander is an issue with many people.
I don't want to bring a cat in the house, and then I'm mad at it because it's not his fault, and then
it's not his fault.
Relationship. So I wanted it to be, again, I think the staggering process is good, but you can't then at the last minute, we're a minute to midnight, and you go, no, sir.
No, that pussy would have been loved in your house.
Absolutely.
I would say that 100% factually. Now, what I have a problem with is that they kept it for a year before wanting to then adopt it out. That, my friend, is a red flag.
Well, apparently they denied as well, like giving it away. Like, just keep the cat. Keep the cat. I don't care. Keep the cat, but don't say, "Hey, here's a cat for you. Come and get." Nope.
How are you doing about it right now? How are you feeling?
Again, you can't. The perception is that we did something wrong.
No, it's not.
No, but it is, because you come visit, you come see the place, you come meet us, and then you're like, no. So it
No. They clearly want it back because it's their cat. They've had it for a year.
Right. But the perception after you...
Seller's remorse.
Why didn't they say that after the first...
Seller's remorse. They couldn't handle it. They didn't realize how much they missed that thing.
LT, I'd give you a cat that comes in from Sam the vet. Don't get put off. No, and I'm an adult. I'll
Hey, how are you doing, by the way, for the time that you had said cat in your house? How were the levels of
good? I feel fine.
Yeah,
I don't. Because I was like I was kind of breathing in, and it ran around, and it left its all over the place, and but
did you already have a name?
It had a name.
Okay,
the cat had a name,
okay.
and we were maybe going to give it a name, but you go down that path, and now we're looking at names, and now all of a sudden the cat's gone. But
Squeakers?
No, nothing like that. Norbert actually was
Norby
was the leading candidate for the name. You could switch it, shorten it to Bert or whatever there. But look, and now the comments are flying in. I get it. 780-218-9999 or in the nasty chat. I know a lot of you just aren't cat people, and I get that. And look, there's nothing I like more than hearing friends with like multiple dogs who have to take them out to go to the bathroom when it's minus 45. I'll be in my living room stroking the pussy. I'll be standing out, looking out the window, and saying, "Ha ha! Look at you idiots with your."
And just hearing the.
I like
the litter
dogs.
box.
Dogs are fine. I love the personality. I think a lot of cats have personality too. I think they get a bad rap on that angle. A lot of them are very.
I love
personable.
cats.
A lot of them are personable.
We have 3 cats.
Yeah,
love them.
but I just
great.
The amount of work a dog and attention and time and money and all that. I'm not going down that route. So it's the cat. But again, it's myself, my wife. You add the cat. I think it would be a perfect household, a perfect nest,
Perfect family.
Yeah. So I mean, look. Hot, truthful take comes in from Krager. Cats are disgusting animals. This is a blessing in disguise, LT. Get a dog. Clean, tidy, and a true family friend. And I mean, dogs don't lick their, nether regions. You too, Trev, you live in a communal house with some roommates and a dog.
Yeah, I was just going to say, LT, when he didn't get the text, or when he got the text, he couldn't have a cat. No.
No.
Yeah. No, that's really unfortunate. I've had a few cats growing up, and living with a dog right now, and I'm a big animal lover. So
yeah, but they're not clean. Like animals aren't like they clean
no,
themselves.
like I mean,
but
they're
they're
pretty
both,
damn clean.
Who? What?
Dogs, cats, they lick themselves and clean.
Yeah, they lick themselves,
they're
and then
licking
they lick you,
themselves.
and then they
Well, that's
go
the part.
outside
It's
and
like when you see the
they
person
eat other
at-
dog stuff, and like it's just
out in public with their dog, and
They're
the dog
animals.
is literally licking their face or they're kissing their dog's lips. I'm sorry, you've crossed the line, in my opinion, because guess what that dog licked just before they licked your mouth?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know.
It starts with ASS and ends with hole.
right. Yeah, I don't get this whole claim. Like they're
And they
animals.
were licking it good.
They're called animals for a reason, and it's
So stay away.
I
Protect
believe
yourself.
I believe that is what they call a foster fail, LT. It happens a lot from fosters. It comes in from that, and that's I'm growing. I'm new to the game, right? This is my first swing and a miss, I guess. And
don't blame yourselves. This is a very, very specific, unique situation, and you cannot blame yourself or your beautiful wife, Danny. You both did the right thing. You both were trying to do what's best for the cat and best for yourself.
And society at large.
Because
everybody
roommates.
needs to. We're not getting a purebred or anything like that. This is a cat that it was a rescue, so we're trying to go through that route.
Yeah.
I don't mind.
What about a hairless cat? Are they just too ugly?
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah,
I'm not
I agree.
rocking that.
How
too
about
much.
no?
I'd get like a rat. Keep
Yeah,
it in
you
a
might as
cage,
well.
Watch it run on the thing. I don't really want to.
A rat in a wheel.
Yeah, or a maze. I've always kind of wanted a maze. Just skip the whole cat step. You can take my kids for a week and try them out. Comes in from the rookie. Coming hard after that text of the day this morning. I'll get you in the running as well.
Somebody said it here very well. Okay, yeah. David Sapina came in and he said dogs are high floor, low ceiling. Cats are high ceiling, low floor. So like a really good cat can blow your mind. Like it can be your best friend, like a dog would. They do take care of themselves very well.
Very well.
You get that cat a nice little bed. They can preen themselves and lick themselves, and I'm all for cats. I mean, I love animals: cats, dogs, goats, ducks, donkeys, ponies, horses. Do you know I have every one of those animals? YTT?
Well, confess to
I
everybody
didn't
who
know
you
that.
actually are. this
I
morning.
confess.
Like,
I am
I knew the
a funny
ducks,
farm
right?
guy.
Yeah.
What's that?
You said ducks, right?
Yeah, ducks.
Yeah,
goats.
yeah. I knew about the ducks.
Yeah, ducks, goats, ponies, donkey, miniature donkey. Actually, he's so cute.
That's adorable.
Yeah, couple horses.
But why? What are you doing? Do you have a zoo?
Well,
What
yeah.
is that like a
Yeah.
petting zoo?
No. My wife grew up on a. Don't come at me for that, okay? My wife grew up on a sheep farm, actually. So she's grown up around animals and horses and all that her whole life. So with my beautiful wife, who you met yesterday, YTT, comes that love and that desire to have livestock, and it's great. It's great for our children.
Yeah. So this is not for any sort of like you're not training them for movies. You're not keeping them to put on an arc if the
my wife does compete
Okay.
in some reining and cow horse exercises and competitions. And my girls are avid riders and very strong riders, but it also gives them that sense of structure. They have responsibilities with their animals. They need to learn how to take care of their animals, clean them, clean their hooves, do all this fun stuff, feed the ducks, chain out the duck shed. It's a lot of work, but it's a labor of love, and it's giving them some really good responsibilities, and teaching them. Our girls are like my wife, thankfully, where they're not afraid to get their hands dirty. They're not afraid to get right in
roll
there.
up the sleeves and
Yeah.
put on the boots.
But then, having the cats, like I said, having the dogs comes with it, which I love. I love. It's not like a crazy, looks like Picton's farm, kind of looking farm.
Hey, now.
That went dark. No, it's just enough. We do have parameters. I have imposed parameters on
Yes,
on
you need
this situation.
rules
because
and structure.
We can't let it get run away, and we
No.
can't take in every animal that needs to find a new home. So we're just at that point where it's manageable, it's doable, and it's good, and there's a lot of fun. It's nice. Nice
Yeah.
having them around.
It's good to have it. And look, and again, a confession. The cat, we grew up with one. The cat adopted our family. It was just a stray on the street. Claws were off, something like that. But a tabby and a huntress. And it would and when we were debating on whether or not to keep it, a mouse was on our doorstep as like a present, as like a gift of saying, like, look at what I can
Here's
do.
my offering.
Look at what I can do. And that thing would be, it kept the place clean. It kept the yard, and it'd prowl around and it owned the neighborhood, so to speak. And we do have a few ferals that walk around our neighborhood and impose
Sure.
their will, and I don't mind that. I don't mind the cat. I don't mind dogs either. Trapped in Saskatchewan says, get a small dog. My dog Reggie is non-allergenic and is very affectionate. Look, love all animals. I'm just saying in my current certain life situation with my wife, the cat is the play, and it's the way we will ultimately go. And I'm appreciating everybody kind of chiming in and texting in, talking about the foster process and everything, to which we didn't know and to which I'm getting educated. And it's kind of easing the distress and the pain to which I felt yesterday. It's just, you go through the whole thing.
I know. I think you were
Nope.
unfairly and unjustly
Nope.
treated in that respect.
But it can happen, so.
But you were doing the right thing. Keep it up. You know what? Everything happens for a reason. Everything.
This is meant to be.
Right?
It's meant to be.
This was not meant to be. So, hey, next thing up, you're going to get your cat. You're going to have your
we'll
day.
get ours. We will get ours. This is the hard-hitting sports talk I'm here for. Loving the pet chat. We have 2 indoor dogs and 1 cat, several outdoor cats, 2 Newfies that are the biggest, sweetest, fluffier boys, and a horse that doesn't live with us. Animals are the best people. Keep your chin up, LTE. You'll find the one that comes in from Fat Dan. Thank you very much. Best place to raise children is in a barn. That comes in from Dave the Welder. Perhaps, and there you go. That's you learn a lot in there that you
Agreed.
can't get out of a
Agreed.
textbook, eh? Also have 2 dogs and a kid. Cat is by far the lowest maintenance of all, and that's kind of one of the many angles that I'm looking for there as well with the cat.
Cheaper, too.
Well, that's yeah. And this thing was ready to play. Like, it was chipped. It was like the whole bit. Like,
Was it already on your lock
it was a
screen
year
on your
old.
phone?
Well, no, I did take a photograph, so I'll have to delete those. But it was like, it was ready to go. Like, it wasn't a kitten. It wasn't like it's falling all over the place and you got to kind of bubble wrap everything. It was
It was ready to go.
It was a plug and play type of a situation here. Stu Baca says, cat versus dog is easy. Would you rather be catatonic or dogmatic? Really getting down in that one. Hontorio Momes, I have 2 cats, and the litter box is the nail in the coffin for me ever getting another. One cat is a demon who, even after 11 years raising from kitten, am still effing terrified to let sometimes. So that's... But these, they all have their own personalities, right? And that's kind of the fun of it. What's bumping in the nasty chat here? Joel, nice to see the caps lock are off. Oh my God, me too. Those hairy, hairless dogs. What the F? How is it hairy and hairless at the same time, but the Sphinx cat is freaking ugly? Maybe put the caps back on there, Joel. Dogs are dumber than cats. Look, it's we can have this debate till the cows come back to your barn there, Jay, but yeah, I didn't want to kind of get in on that. But just a confession.
We'll be looking for a 4-H calf here soon. That's one thing that they're going to do is 4-H and get involved in different, there's beef 4-H.
Now you're talking the language.
4-H.
I know we got a lot of listeners and viewers that are heavily involved. And Dustin Nielson as well, a graduate of the program.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's a great program. Great. And there's so many different avenues. Like friends of ours, their son's out by Towfield, and they have a car 4-H. Where you can learn to do auto body repair and whatnot. So you don't need to be on a rural area to do 4-H.
Well, it's just from a city boy's point of view. And YouTube, Trev, maybe if your time down Pincher Creek way. I mean, you have any? How much time did you spend in a barn growing up? Or
yeah, like all my friends, pretty well. It was in the barn, the farm. We played lots of hockey and some ODRs. That's kind of how it was. Yeah. But yeah, like it was 4-H was just huge back home. I think I was the only one that was never really involved, but all my buddies were, and yeah, it's pretty cool.
Dave Supina, we probably had 12 to 18 cats come through, and only 2 or 3 of them were trouble. Really, occasional messes, but nothing too bad. Had one cat that hated every other cat in existence. Nice to me and my wife. Is this not a sports show? Wreckage 504 is just on. He's hating everything. He's hating buttons on to talk sports. Hates it. And now we're doing a confession. Probably hates gambling as well. Wreckage 504.
I think he would.
It'll turn around for you, man. We'll get things going. And to kick off hour 3, the final hour of the show, we do have some prizing available for you, courtesy of the fine friends at Mr. Mike's Steakhouse Casual, and that comes in the form of Kinda Easy Trivia. So if you want to play Kinda Easy Trivia, that's coming up here in a matter of minutes. All you got to do right now is text in 780-218-9999 and say, pick me, I want to play, or anything else to get into YouTube Trev's good books, and he might be picking you and giving you a call. Once again, Kinda Easy Trivia coming up next. Text in 780-218-9999 if you want to play. $25 on the line, courtesy Mr. Mike's. And we want to as well thank Spectrum Rental for all their help and bringing us the confession segment, which you can hear every Tuesday right here on The Nielsen Show at around 7:40. I'm Lieutenant Eric. He's Jay Milne. YouTube Trev behind the monitors. 7:58. We'll hit a sports update coming up next. Kind of easy trivia. 3 questions too many, and we'll set up tonight's game between the Oilers and Blue Jackets. Joaquin Gage for Pro-Am Sports will be joining us. An Orange and Blue breakfast for Mobile One and the Wrap as well. But first, a sports update from Jay Milne.
This sports update is brought to you by Claiborne Services. They are hiring right now. Looking for journeyman bricklayers and all levels of apprentices. Start a new career or take your current one to the next level with their well-established mentorship program. Visit www.claiborneservices.com for more. Quiet night in the NHL last night. The mighty Winnipeg Jets were taken down by Boston 4-1. Fun fact, the Jets allowed more than 3 goals for the first time since November 2nd, and they continue to be hot. Just not last night. Tyler Toffoli caps his second hat trick in overtime as the Devils knock off the Golden Knights 6-5, and the Canucks stay hot as they defeat the Chicago Blackhawks 2-0. In the NBA, the Toronto Raptors fell to last place in the Eastern Conference as they lose to the Memphis Grizzlies 108-100, and Joel Embiid went off last night. The battle between he and the tall man, Wembanyama, was overshadowed by the big fella as he poured in 70 points and 18 rebounds on the way to a 133-123 victory over the San Antonio Spurs. And yes, the Oilers did sign Corey Perry yesterday, but he will not dress tonight as the Oilers host the Columbus Blue Jackets tonight at 7 p.m. Calvin Pickard is expected to get the start in net. You can join our very own Tom Gazzola, Matt Cassian, and the newly armed man, Matty Wannick, at 5:30 on the Oil Stream pre- and post-show here on the Edmonton Sports Talk. ESC weather. Today, the forecast calls for mainly sunny skies with a high of -7 and warmer temperatures as we move toward the weekend. It's going to be 0 on Friday. It's going to be glorious. Currently, it is partly cloudy and -11. This sports update has been brought to you by Claiborne Services. I'm Jay Milne, and you're up to date.
The Nielson Show featuring Lieutenant Eric. Only on Edmonton Sports Talk.
Nielson Show on Edmonton Sports Talk, whether it be on the TuneIn radio app. Just search up Edmonton Sports Talk and you'll get it going there. Or, of course, on YouTube. Find us, Edmonton Sports Talk. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, and also EdmontonSportsTalk.com with our Listen Live feature. Lieutenant Eric in for Dustin Nielson. He is scheduled to return to the show tomorrow morning. Jay Milne joining me this morning as well. Brought me a nice... cured sauce? Is that what you? Is it cured?
We're gonna get that bad boy opened up.
Yeah,
and we are gonna enjoy some of that sweet sausage. It's called no smoke sausage.
No
you
smoke.
don't need to smoke it.
Don't need the smoke
to enjoy it. But we'll give you a real up close, personal. It's lovely.
If Zach becomes listening, bring in a little bit of cheese, maybe a little bit of cracker. That would go a long way into securing permanent employment here, I'm sure, or one of the avenues to get that. So if you're listening, Zach, you know what to do.
Love it.
And YouTube Trev as well behind the monitors, lassoing somebody here for the Kinda Easy Trivia, which will be coming up in a matter of minutes. $25 to Mr. Mike's on the line for the winner of Kinda Easy Trivia, and we'll have 3 questions too many as well following that. Now, Gager and I tag teamed the trivia yesterday. It was kind of dueling questions. Do you have 5 for the contestant? Would you like me to ask the 5 easy questions?
I could come up with 5.
Like the challenge. You're taking it right now.
Maybe let's tag team it. Just
it's a dicey game when we don't know what each other's are asking there.
Okay, so you get 3, I get 2.
Sure.
Okay,
I'll lead off.
Deal.
Okay. Who do we got?
I'm excited for this one.
Yeah.
Today we have a Tief.
Oh!
Let's go.
Speaking of Century Sports Casino, a Tief. The man, the myth, the legend.
A Tief. I hope he got those glasses cleaned. He must have did correctly texted, I would say. A Tief, the man in the chair, an AM Nasty through and through. I know he'll be front and center at the Century Casino Sports Bar and Lounge for Super Bowl Sunday. A Tief, how you doing, man?
Boys, what say you? How are you?
What say you indeed? I'm doing fine. It's great to hear your voice. Haven't seen you've been holidays are good and everything. You're feeling good, living free and easy.
Yeah, buddy, just getting ready to go to Nashville with the sledge hockey team at the end of February. We might be playing at Bridgestone Arena, so we'll see what happens there.
End of February, Nashville for the sledge hockey. Now we will see you prior to that at Super Bowl, correct? We can kind of you can kind of maybe send us a few details and stuff. Perfect. I'd love to get a little more on that. Maybe send you down there with a bit of EST swag. Hey, how would that sound, Atif?
I would love that. That would be awesome.
We'll discuss.
The swag. The swag's just as hot as the 6 o'clock lager in the Edmonton Oilers, buddy.
Little this, little that, right? I think YouTube, Trev. Now Atif, I know you know the show and inside out, but we're gonna do it different. I don't know if you were listening. Jay Milne and myself will kind of dual question you, so we'll go back and forth. And YouTube, Trev will be running the ticker this morning. No ticker, no ticker because of us talking. So actually, there's gonna be no ticker, but you do get a clubby loop in there. You can play a clubby loop. There's
after I can.
That's assuming Atif wins.
It's never in doubt. Atif is going to get this. It's kind of easy, and that's his wheelhouse here. So I guess we'll unless YouTube Trev on the mic, if you want to go.
Yeah, I can give that a go. Okay,
we'll make it work. Okay, so I'll start off with the first question, and then we'll go back and forth. Atif, you need 3 out of 5. Are you ready?
Bring it on.
Okay, good luck, man. What player was introduced and signed yesterday by the Edmonton Oilers?
Mr. Corey Perry.
Who does Craig Button work for?
He works for TSN.
Who do the Oilers play tonight?
They play somebody named the Columbus Blue Jackets with Goudreau.
Which are better, cats or dogs?
Both.
And who's winning the Super Bowl?
We'll be on the spot.
Tick, 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 tick,
I
tick.
want the 49ers, but I'm cheering for the Detroit Lions because they're an awesome team.
And just under the buzzer there.
And he got it! That is why I did it! At number 5! Are you kidding me? That's right! Who do you think you are? I am! Get it right!
You can't have a newcomer come in and steal the show.
That's a paddling.
Oh, we've been strong. We're just playing by the rules.
Ooh, you better believe that's a paddling.
And I was in Miami with my new beach house. Well, it was a couple minutes from the beach.
That's a paddling.
The first year, we took it to the limit. Take it to the limit.
You cannot come to my house. No, not today.
You cannot come to my house. No, not today.
I butchered that ticker.
Hey,
gosh.
look,
You were so much better than me.
That was the most drawn out, kind of easy. Like, I mean, he had time to answer, then he would go on and add.
You'd have a full-on conversation.
The windows and doors were open, hey? Like, this was, and nobody better than Atif. Atif, Mr. Mike's is yours. We'll bring the gift card to the casino for you there, Atif, for Super Bowl. Just give us
what a legend.
Reminder. But,
what a legend.
No, he is a legend, and just a great guy overall. And if you want to meet Atif and Renee, and Box Pounder and all the rest of the characters, they will be on full display. Once again, Century Casino Sports Bar and Lounge, February 11th, Super Bowl Sunday. And as Savage the Plumber chimed in as well, plan ahead. Get a little peace of mind. Don't be rolling in 5 minutes before kickoff as Reba's singing the Star Spangled Banner and you're figuring out where to sit or who has a, maybe again, if you're kind of stockpiling chairs and tables, it might be an option. But phone them up today, book a table, book a seat, do whatever you got to do just to get that peace of mind. And congratulations to Atif as well for taking home the Mr. Mike's. As we sashay into 3 questions too many, brought to you as always by the great staff at Park Mazda and dealer principal Mitch Lewicki, where he's already booked a table of 16 at Centric Casino Sports Bar and Lounge for Super Bowl. Park Mazda, your dealer for life. And that's Mitch. That's Mitch running that Park Mazda. He's all over the place and he's all over everything. And he knows when you're running a dealership, a successful dealership such as that, you make that first move. You don't want to wait.
Well, I've said this on
you approach people in the sales room. You don't sit there at your desk, twiddle your thumbs.
Well, do you know what they do on Y Road every day at 5 o'clock when Mitch Lewicki leaves? They shut down the road. And there's police officers that carry him to get through the traffic because he's a celebrity there.
No dry eye on the road.
No.
It's a lot of emotion.
Flowers.
And,
Wreckage 504 was kind of getting a little bit bodied there in the nasty chat. I got to admit, timing wasn't great.
I'm going to be the bigger man and not even bring it up.
Perfect. Pat Maroon's bib had something to say about it.
Nah, that's okay. But we will get into...
But he retracted his message, Pat Maroon's bib.
It's enough of this message retracting. Own it. But yes, we do have 3 questions too many coming up right now, and this is ahead of a pretty busy hour, and as we will get back to the topic of the day, of course, Oilers Blue Jackets. Corey Perry will not be factoring in. What were we talking here? We're looking at maybe a Saturday, right? It may not even be that Thursday game against the Hawks. Perhaps,
yeah. Saturday is what they were.
He wouldn't even lead stretches yesterday in the skate. They wanted him to, and he wouldn't do it. He's still that betting in period.
I'm kind of surprised by that. I would have,
But okay, early on though, that's a good he's not. This is
not taking the show, hey.
Yeah, and that's you don't want to come in here
and
take the shine off the win streak and everything else and all the good things that are going on. So I think that's a good early sign that he knows what he is at this stage of his career, who he is, what's happened, and you just take this thing step by step.
He's a weasel, but he's our weasel now.
Well, I just love the worm.
Pretty
and
weasel.
I think of Dennis Rodman.
Yeah,
like he's got to dye his hair pink and come in a wedding gown. I need that. Yeah,
I like that.
Be the worm. Be the pest. Be the anti everything. As this team is kind of taking. That's cup or bust mentality, right? Hop on. We're taking this thing.
Buy in.
Yeah. Joaquin Gage at around 8:20. That's for Pro-Am Sports. And an orange and blue breakfast to set up the Oilers and Blue Jackets, brought to you by Mobile One. Coming up around 8:30, and as mentioned earlier, we might have a delayed start to the hangout this morning as Maddie Iwanek is getting a little medical care. And so we will keep an eye on that as well. Just kind of a...
We're going to have a sausage party.
It's a touch and go. Yeah, we'll be... what do you think of this, Tom, huh? Talking about a busy desk here, hey? Yeah, come get a bite off this.
Maybe we'll put the sausage in the cups on the desk.
He would have a
He would have a conniption.
Tom in today too, or would he be rinking it? Rink rat?
Oh, I guess he would be. He's at the rink today. Yeah.
So we will leave the sausage on the desk for when Tom makes his triumphant return to the studio, and he can bite off a bit himself. Question number 1, again, 3 questions too many, brought to you by Park Mazda. Corey Perry, now a member of the Edmonton Oilers. Jay Milne, gazing into your crystal ball. How do you see this relationship fitting? Obviously, the money works, everything paper-wise, that's good. Is this a sense that he stays bottom 6, just provides that insulation role, becomes a bit of the pest, the worm? I mean, maybe that's the easy answer. Brings that cup pedigree, or what is the ceiling for him in terms of? I mean, by the end of the season, are we? Does he elevate himself up that right side? Who's to say? I would argue against it, but where do you see the ceiling for him on this team this season?
Well, just what you said is the assurances that you have with getting a guy like Corey Perry and knowing that, hey, there is the opportunity for him to creep up that lineup. He's comfortable where he is, going to fit in a bottom 6 role, which we need. We need that sandpaper, like you alluded to earlier. But there is the possibility for him climbing up there. Where do I see it going? I see it ending at the end of this season with a strong Stanley Cup run. I don't think the Oilers will re-sign him, but he's going to provide much-needed experience, a level head in that locker room, and that grittiness, that sandpaper that we all hated when we watched him play on the Anaheim Ducks. Now the Oilers fans get somebody on their side that is a pest, that is somebody that's going to rattle people's cages. And you see now they're building that lineup to be a little bit of a body guy, lineup down the line for the Oilers, where they can now go into a series and be confident that they're going to have the grit to match up against some of those other teams that maybe has been lacking for the Oilers. We saw that last year with the acquisition of Kane. That helped with that kind of demeanor for the team.
Yep.
But I think this ends at the end of this season. I think the Corey Perry experiment is going to be good. It's going to be well received. And like we said earlier, nothing's better than free. The Oilers did not have to give up anything. They're just signing Corey Perry to a 1-year. The bit of a gift that fell into Kenny Holland's lap here, but the Oilers will take it. Their fans will take it. And I think it's going to work out.
What's your say? 780-218-9999 or in the nasty chat. Love the Perry signing, says the Wolf. Loved it even more after that presser yesterday. He has character, and he's what we need for the playoffs. Once again, that comes in from the Wolf. And I think the presser, too, did address or maybe smooth away things with some detractors in and around the market. He brought up jokingly and sneeringly the Anaheim thing, which, again, that's in the past. He's not going to kind of go too much on that. But I think he handled himself quite well.
I thought he fared very well in that presser.
And in terms of Oilers pressers, let's be honest, as of late, they do have a tendency to kind of go to some weird places.
Sure.
But God bless Kenny Holland and his innocence, just saying, like, I went down to Calgary Saturday. I thought
that's just
wanted
old
a big
man.
Surprise.
That's old man ignorance.
God,
Lieutenant Eric, I've got a question for you. Wow. Question number 2. Can I steal it?
Yeah, as long as I get 3.
You get 3. Can I steal the floor for question number 2?
Do it.
And YTT, I will open it up to you as well. All this talk about Perry this, Perry that. Who comes out? Where do the Oilers go? And who comes out? I mean, the obvious answer, and Connor Brown's got to come out. But is that the right decision? Lieutenant Eric, who do you think comes out Saturday when Corey Perry makes his Oilers debut?
But Brown on the PK. Right? That's the answer to that.
You're doing it.
I'll go Matthias Janmark. Sam Gagner gets the goal, and I love him being around the team.
Yeah. If it's not Janmark, I know they did just send Adam Ernie down to the minors. So if that fills the gap, like if he's sent down and Corey Perry can fit in, then obviously that's the guy. But if they still do need to have someone down, I think. I mean, Janmark, as far right now, like for me, like Janmark's kind of been like Ryan McLeod earlier in the season. He's skating well. Like when he has the puck, he's doing the right things. But I mean, he has nothing to really show for it. So I'd probably go with Matthias Janmark as well.
And I mean, in Janmark's defense, though, too, you got a guy like Sam Gagner who's just beloved in this market, right? And I know he got the goal last game, but any other team, perhaps you're maybe doing Gagne instead of the. I don't know, but I think in this, and most people kind of are agreeing with the refrain that it would be Matthias Janmark. But what say you? 780-218-9999 or through the nasty chat. I say Janmark. You say Janmark.
Yeah.
But it's a three-way, Janmark.
It's a three-way.
That's what I was thinking as well. I couldn't agree more.
Yeah, there's one thing, that's not really being talked about as well with Corey Perry. The Oilers are pretty top heavy with lefties, and right now the only righty really getting it done for forwards is Zach Hyman. So you're getting another righty, which is I think that's going to be huge. And the options, I mean, time will only tell, right? Like you can have him if it works well, Evander Kane and him, like that's going to be just crazy to watch that line, especially in the playoffs, right? But who knows? Maybe they don't have chemistry, but that's the case. You bring him in the bottom six. You can Fogle still stays up with the second line, and then you have Corey Perry on the third with like Clouder and maybe Gagne, and maybe you have Corey Perry, Gagne, and Holloway. Like I don't mind
Holloway too, yeah.
Yeah, so just so many options,
pieces.
so many
Exactly,
options.
Yeah. And not to say, like, again, I'm not expecting Perry to play Zach Hyman out of his top right wing position or anything such as this. But Fogel's been having a decent year, and maybe on certain nights or certain matchups or certain something. I mean, I know Knobloch's not a blender guy, but you do have the option of creating different matchups or getting guys in different positions. I Janmark out, Perry in. Let's go.
I like it.
Question 3, you ready for this one? Comes in via the nasty chat as well, just off the weekly confession segment when the show went to cats and dogs, right? That type of thing. If cats were sports and dogs were sports, what would they be? You might need this thing to kind of drum around for a bit and kind of let that settle. Dogs, like dog to me is like it's like a lacrosse, football. Could be hockey, just due to the fact that you're playing on a ice surface with 2 knives on your feet. And chasing around a piece of rubber randomly. I mean, there's a lot of randomness with the dog. I do find they're kind of jumping over you and slobber. Like there's a lot of stuff going on, a lot of action, right?
When I think of cats in sports, I'm reminded of an Olympic sport. I believe it's rhythmic skiing. That's the sport I think of when I think of cats.
Very specific.
The way they move and the way they can control their body is incredible. Cats have such control of their posture. You can have a cat walking on you and you don't know it. So I would say cats are reminded of me for rhythmic ski dancing. Dogs, yeah, it depends on the breed, really.
Oh, no, totally. Yeah.
I mean, if we're talking bulldogs, it's going to be a totally different answer. If we're talking whippets, if we're talking border collie.
Well, whippets are wide receiver. A bulldog is usually on the offensive or defensive line. I mean, you could also kind of, you pick your sport, and then you pick your positions, perhaps.
I think of corgi, I think immediately of chess. I think that's an animal, that's a dog that would dominate in the chess field. Whereas if you're talking bulldog, I can't help not but think of dodgeball.
Cats, I'll go with curling. As some people always say, curling's not a sport, and cats aren't a real pet, so that type of same energy there.
See, David Sapina comes in again, and he's backing my theory on rhythmic ski dancing with cats are a ribbon on a stick, whatever that sport is called. I'm not sure. Is that rhythmic?
Could just be ribbon on a stick, I think.
Yeah, I think you get awarded the
Yeah.
gold in ribbon on a stick.
IOC has that ribbon on a stick. And then coming up next is breakdancing, right? Isn't that the how that goes now? Look, whatever you want. I don't really want to get into this debate again. But cats and dogs, what are they? What sport are they? Have your say. I guess we don't need to chew it up too much. The rookie says cats would be cricket, kind of pretentious. Dogs would be beer pong. And it's a lot of stickiness.
Once again, very breed dependent.
Very breed dependent. H.E. Pennypacker chimes in, 780-218-9999. Cats are baseball. Maybe that's the whole napping ideal.
I don't know. Maybe
does a pitch clock?
I mean, in my world, cats and dogs are 2 members of the Prairie Football Conference in the CJFL.
Stop it here. The debate is over.
And in this world, I like cats better more than I like dogs.
Love it.
That's biased.
Three questions too many, brought to you by the great staff at Park Mazda. Check them out today, parkmazda.ca. And I do believe we have Mr. Gage there. Oh, man, looking good. He's got the team principal's garb on. Joaquin, how you doing, man?
I'm good, buddy. How are you?
Can't complain. I want to thank you again for joining us yesterday as Dustin Nielson's taking a couple of days off. Jay Milne in your seat this morning, and it's Joaquin Gage, brought to you by Pro-Am Sports. It's Gager's big save once again for Pro-Am, locally owned sports memorabilia and apparel specialists. Find them north of the Yellowhead, St. Albert Trail, 128th Ave, or visit them online, proamsports.ca. Like us, they are sports nerds and AM nasties too. Joaquin, I know you touched on it briefly yesterday since you're wearing the Red Bull Pit Crew garb. What's coming up next, Formula One? When can we expect the first message for the Fantasy League kicking off again? And where are you at on the schedule right now as it is?
Well, we're 28 days, 15 hours, 40 minutes away from testing in Bahrain as we speak, Eric. We're getting pumped up. I have to consult with one of the other members of the AM Nesty F1 Fantasy League with Dustin Nielson. Where there was floating some ideas to maybe include some of the nasties into our pool this year.
I like that.
So that'll be exciting. Due to the complaining to the FIA nasty members board from two team principals this season, there will be a constructors championship just to dry the tears for those two individuals. We won't mention any names here. Jay, I want to say great job today. You're doing awesome.
Thanks, Gager. You're the best.
It's good to see you on there. But no, we're I'm getting excited, Eric. It's we've got Drive to Survive coming up soon. I was just reading about Madrid coming in 2025. So more races. And we talked about it. I touched on it a little bit yesterday, just with this season. The summer of this F1 season is going to be absolutely crazy with the talk of what seats are available, where drivers are going, because really McLaren, Mercedes, and Max Verstappen are the only drivers that are signed through to 2025. So there's going to be a lot of seat shuffling, and there's a lot of good, fresh talent coming up from F2. So who knows? I'm looking forward to it, though.
Well, as are we, and we might have a few special events here surrounding Edmonton Sports Talk, namely around the Aussie Grand Prix, which I do believe you might be in on. So we'll keep that under the hat and kind of discuss that more as time rolls on. Obviously, the topic of the day and the topic of the week, you and I were talking about it yesterday, but Corey Perry meeting with the media alongside Ken Holland yesterday, I guess just ahead of tonight's game against the Blue Jackets. Your thoughts on that? I know the fan base, for some of them, it might take a little while to warm up to the notion of Corey Perry donning that orange and blue jersey as I still get that the Twitter account tweeting that out, and I was just staring at it for 5 minutes. But I guess your thoughts on the presser, how things look there, and expectations now moving forward following yesterday's media avail.
I was impressed. Like I liked his opening remarks. He didn't shy away from any of the he kind of laid the groundwork of what he was going to talk about in that presser, right? He answered the questions. I think he did a great job of when asked, he didn't want to talk about certain things. And quite frankly, we don't need to know about those certain things. That's everything we said yesterday. If the NHL and the Oilers are okay with this, I'm okay with it. They had to definitely get to a position where this wasn't going to rear its head later on in the season, right? And affecting the team that way. But yeah, let the bottom six mixer commence of where we're going to see Corey Perry. What kind of role is he going to fill? Look, I never think that lines are set in stone. There's always going to be tinkering. Guys are going to move. I mean, you look at Sam Gagner, what he's been able to do in limited ice time, who can moonlight a little bit in a top six role for a certain amount of time. Now you have another player that's done it before, that doesn't shy away from that, and also just provides that grit and the nastiness, and to have the opposing team be thinking about a certain player on the other team more than winning the game can only help the Edmonton Oilers at this point. We've it's going to be very. I'm so curious to when he does get into the lineup. I don't know what that looks like, but I am a little bit disappointed with the choice going in goal tonight. I think that's a little bit of a misstep.
You wanted to ride this thing until it bucked you off. Hey, that I think that was to paraphrase you from yesterday morning.
Yeah, no, I just think that this is kind of Stuart Skinner's being a goalie. I like the fact that he's broken some records that sometimes you'd never think were touched, to become win this many games in a row. And this is just a little added pressure on Pickard to keep this streak going. I think this was more along the lines of Stuart Skinner's streak to lose at this point. Once he eventually does lose, because they're not gonna run the table here. But then you throw Calvin Pickard in, especially with the All-Star weekend coming up. I just think it's a missed opportunity.
Gager, I put out some feelers, some vibes yesterday on Twitter leading up to this glorious interview with you, and I was excited to see you and interview you, and thank you for your kind words. I too think you did a great job yesterday, and I'd be worried if I was Dustin. But really, an interesting question came to me, and I honestly wanted to ask you this. I mean, you've played everywhere. You've played in North America, overseas. This is a two-part question. I want to know, what was the coolest or neatest hockey arena that you've ever played in, and why? And the coolest other arena for other purposes, whether it be a different sporting event or a musical event that you've seen in all your worldly travels.
Oh, great question. The coolest rink that I've ever played in is the Ice Palace in Davos, Switzerland. That is a ridiculous rink. Driving into Davos, you can't believe that there's a place on earth like that actually exists. And the fact that you can play professional hockey there as well is absolutely ridiculous. Having all those people standing, chanting, cheering with the glass, the wood, it's a cathedral for hockey. And I've said it, I hate that Dusty doesn't pack me in his bags when he goes over there. It's a bucket list item for any hockey fan. If you ever get a chance, go watch the Spengler Cup. It'll change your life. But the other rink, I guess I would have to say, was everyone's seen that rink when the NHL goes over to Sweden, the Globe Arena. And for a year, I played for Djurgården in the Swedish Elite Series, and it's a pretty cool rink. It's a big ball. We actually have two rinks there. There's a smaller rink and the bigger rink. It's a really fun place to play, especially when you get they're called derby games. So our derby game, like our arch rival, is Leksand. They're one of the oldest hockey teams on the planet. I think Djurgården's actually 1885, and they're even older than us. And when we would play them, it was fireworks. So again, if you can get over to Sweden and hit that rink, it's something to behold as well.
Gage, you're just getting back to tonight's game. The Oilers with 3 this week at home, tonight against Columbus, Thursday against Chicago, wrapping up Saturday afternoon against the Nashville Predators, but specifically looking toward tonight. And you said it through gritted teeth. Pickard getting the start for the Blue Jackets as well. Daniel Tarasov. Jay Milne taking the over in tonight's game, going against the grain and going against the current of Oilers usually not scoring a lot of goals, buttoning down, limiting the other team to a 1 or a 2 here or there. Your thoughts on tonight's game, specifically in the crease with these two guys, and do you see this one turning out to be a little more offensive than what Oilers fans have been used to as of late?
I don't think so. I think we're going to see another kind of if the line it's 5.5. I'm going under on this game. I just think that the thing that's impressed me the most with the Edmonton Oilers is the shift in thinking of how the leaders of the team lead by example during the game. Like, we see how physical Connor McDavid's playing. He's not just, if the team is down, we don't see a push from the team. We see a balanced attack, not getting out of the way that they play. They're not getting out of the structure of their system and wearing down other teams. I don't think we're going to see them stray too far from that. They've played this way for too long. When they play that way, it's very difficult for other teams to compete with the skill level that they have. Things are going quite well. I mentioned it yesterday. Sam Gagner goes top shelf, far side from behind the net. That you couldn't do that 100 times with 100 pucks behind the net again, right? Like, things are going quite well. But I just see them playing the exact same way. There's a confidence level of this team that we haven't seen in a long time of playing in the uncomfortable zone of hockey and being comfortable with it.
And I just want to get your thoughts too. And we were talking, and you may have brought this up yesterday as well. I don't even know if we maybe walked down that far, but with the addition of Corey Perry, who are you taking out of the lineup? Janmark's name circling around. A lot of people saying Connor Brown, Sam Gagner, perhaps if it was another team. But of course, with the attachments emotionally to him here, not a lot of people voting that. Maybe that's not the decision made from coaching. But where would you go in this scenario to make room for one Corey Perry?
I like Janmark. I kind of lean towards Gagner. I think I take Gagner out for right now and keep Janmark. I just like I like his a little bit more speed on the defensive side and the responsibility. Not that Sam isn't. You get I think a little bit more creativity on the offensive side with Sam, but I think the defensive structure outweighs it. So I'm keeping Janmark in at this point.
Okay, and I just did you have anything to add, Jay, to Joaquin here? I had one more F1 from you, and that's coming from the nasty chat. We'll wrap up with that. But
take the floor, you Lieutenant Eric. Take the floor.
Pat Maroon's bib was curious to listen to your take, Gager, on the F1 abandoning Barcelona to move Spain GP to Madrid. And I know you mentioned it earlier, but if you want to go a little more in depth, maybe.
Look, I just read the article today, right before I got on here. I will do a deep dive into this a little bit more, but just with a lot of talk of the renewables coming in, right? The changes to the cars, so that's a big part. There's huge functions in Madrid now that F1's going there, so another future destination for myself. But yeah, I like new tracks. I like just expanding F1. I think it's a good move. Madrid, a friend of a friend lives there. It's miraculous. So I do have a place to stay, which I'm even more excited about.
You mentioned derbies as well, and there's no bigger in world football than Barcelona, Madrid as well. So this will only add to that gripe and tension between the two locales. And good to have a bed in Madrid, I guess, is also not a bad thing to have. Hey.
Not bad to have beds everywhere.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Eric Stewart says Gage has lost the plot. Keep Gagner. We'll end it there, Joaquin. Thanks for your time. Thanks for coming in yesterday, and we'll talk to you soon, man.
You guys take care.
It's Joaquin Gage every Tuesday morning at around this time. It's Gager's Big Save, and it's brought to you by Pro-Am Sports, your locally owned sports memorabilia and apparel specialist. Once again, you can check them out online, proamsports.ca, or just north of the L head on St. Albert Trail, 128th Avenue. It's right by an Arby's. If you want, I believe it's allowed. You can pick up a little Arby's, get in there and scarf down some beef and sheds with the boys down at Pro-Am. We'll get into an orange and blue breakfast right now, take a deeper dive into tonight's game between the Oilers and Blue Jackets, set the lines, go over a brief injury report, our thoughts on tonight's game, and it's all brought to you by Mobil 1 and Blue Water Lubricants. The Blue Water Group was founded in 1974 and is Canada's largest independent distributor of Mobil branded lubricants. They want to thank everyone for 50 great years. I usually do a race car. P1 with Mobil 1. So this is the Orange and Blue Breakfast, in which we will go over this. If you have any questions or anything you'd like to discuss leading up to tonight's game between the Jackets and the Oilers down at Rogers Place, please chime in. Nasty Chat or Paris Jewelers inbox, 780-218-9999. We'll get things going later on today, 5:30. The Oil Stream pregame show will kick off with Tom Gazzola, Matt Iwanek as well, and a handful of others. So you can join them 5:30 right here on Edmonton Sports Talk, and breaking down the action later tonight following the game. But just to go over some lines here for the Edmonton Oilers: McDavid between RNH and Hyman, Draisaitl centering Kane and Fogle, Ryan McLeod between Janmark and Ryan, and then you got Hamblin between Connor Brown and Sam Gagner. Looking at the blue line in pairings: Narcisse, Ekholm Bouchard, Kulak Desharnais, and Kelvin Pickard getting the call in net tonight. Much of the same with the Columbus Blue Jackets in terms of goaltending. They'll be going to Daniel Tarasov later this evening. Their forward group consists of Sillinger between Goudreau and Chinnikov, Boone Jenner, let that hang in the air for a second there, between Fantilli and Roslovic, Voronkov centering Marchenko and Johnson, and Sean Corrali leading that fourth line between Alexander Tessier and Justin Danforth. Let that one hang there for a second as well. Damon Severson and Adam Boquist on your blue line. Ivan Provorov, Andrew Peak, and Jake Bean and Eric Goodbranson on that third pair. As we take a look at the injury report, pretty clean bill of health for both squads entering tonight. Adam Boquist listed as day-to-day with an illness, so we will see if he draws into the lineup tonight. And for the Edmonton Oilers, it's another case of pretty good health this season. Not too much to crow about there on that front for the Oilers in terms of man games lost, as we knock on the... Of course, it has nothing to do with us, though, so you can say it, and I don't feel like I'm putting any sort of hex or curse. Much like the win streak. We've talked about the wins. Nothing's happened, so that's all fine, too. So that is your injury report as well. Key to an Oiler victory tonight, Jay? Where would you want to go for this one?
Well, I think as Gager just alluded to, that defensive structure, playing a sound defensive game in front of Pickard, getting that puck out and letting your offensive players handle and do what they do best, but having that defensive zone coverage, taking care of the puck in your own end. If that's the way, and that's the way that the Oilers have been playing lately and getting all these wins and rattling off this heater, if they can continue that, I mean, it sounds redundant, but that is, I think, the key to victory here.
Play the game, and even if they don't, I mean, hell, spot them 2 goals, right? This team almost relishes a comeback now.
Screw it, give them 2.5.
Yeah, why not? I mean, here you go. Yeah, and
it would help the over bet.
You're just, well, the whole point for you now is the over. We're chasing that over, and we're going to hunt it down like a dog here. But YouTube, Trev, your thoughts tonight as well. I mean, this is a week in which you look at the opponents, you say, yeah, well, this is the way the Oilers are playing. They should be taking care of business. But every night in the pros is a pros night. So you're coming up against a pro team with pro players. Your thoughts on the game tonight? What do they need to do to get this cross line, extend the streak?
Yeah, obviously, you can't take them lightly, right? They are an NHL team, but I mean, just looking down the middle, like, they're young. They're young. They don't have a whole lot of experience outside of, Boone Jenner's, right? Like, there's not a whole lot going. Cole Sillinger, there's a lot to look forward to if you're a Blue Jackets fan in the future. Like, he's, pretty young, 20, he's 20, 12th overall in 2021. Obviously, you got Adam Fantilli, who's a 3rd overall pick this last year. Kent Johnson as well. Just a lot of skill, a lot of young skill, but they're not quite there yet. So the Oilers have the experience, they have the skill, they have the manpower, they have the size. They really should be able to, dismantle this team if things go right. They have to play their game, and don't let Columbus Blue Jackets, don't give them anything.
Don't play down.
Yeah, don't play down on them.
Done in the
exactly.
Past. Sometimes it can creep in. Right?
This is where you see if that trend continues for the Edmonton Oilers. When they have the foot on the throat, do you press on it, or do you let off, right? So this will be a great test. Yes, looking at the 2 records, the Oilers are 26-15-1. Columbus is 14-22-9. The Oilers should win this game, and they should win it handily. But stranger things have happened. It'll be interesting to see how they handle, playing against a team of this caliber at this moment in the season where they're on this tear. Do not play down to this level. It'd be nice if this was a 5-2 game or something like that. See, it would hit the over. But you'd see that they took control of a game. right? And didn't let off the gas. It'd be great to see that from an Oilers fan perspective.
Yeah, and I don't necessarily want to play contrarian here too much, but you do have this, break approaching, and you don't want to sleepwalk into it. Certainly with the opponents and their record and stuff. I mean, Chicago played Edmonton pretty tight in Chicago on the road there a few weeks back.
There's reason to say that. Absolutely.
You can't. But they're not going to continue to go throughout the season. I mean, prove me wrong. Maybe you do win every other game that is in front of you here. But it will be interesting to see how they do handle this week. Of course, with the strength of the opposition, one would say, it's easy, it's in the bag, given the way the Oilers have been playing. But I do wonder how they approach this week and how they come out of the gate. I know Knobloch yesterday, and just on Corey Perry, of course, pretty well known at this point, but he will not be drawing in tonight. Probably, unfortunately, won't be drawing in the Thursday game against the Blackhawks here from Rogers Place as well. Holland speaking yesterday, we're kind of shooting for Saturday. Have a good week of practice, because then we go into that 9-day break and then don't come back until the following Tuesday in Vegas. So get things going, get them ramped up for the Saturday afternoon game against Nashville. It's just a little unfortunate. You can have that narrative of the Blackhawks rolling into town, but we will wait on that one. 780-218-9999 is the number to text if you have anything else you'd like to add to the Orange and Blue Breakfast this morning. I know Pro-Am Barry. I'd love to see a Pro-Am Barry, whether it's at Pro-Am Sports or in the inbox as well. Lexand IF, shout out. I'm sure I'm the only Edmontonian that knows this team. Also been to Davos Rink, Globen Rink in Lexand. Davos is second to none. So somebody was getting what Gager was putting down earlier in that. The best answer I heard from Worm, speaking of Corey Perry from yesterday, this comes in from Propane Pimp, was when asked about what his first thought of the Oilers is. He has won a Memorial Cup, a World Junior, World Championship, Olympic Gold, and Stanley, yet he said he still thinks about losing that 06 series to the Oilers. Winners, man, never satisfied with wins, but always remembering the ones that got away. So nice enough for him to take that out of the presser yesterday. What else do we got here? Hey, Gager, that's the long time. No, that was a question for Gager, so that's gone. Rip City Step is all hot and horny about this trade in the NBA this morning involving one Kyle Lowry. You might remember that name from Raptors squads of the past, but just to take a break from the Oilers here, Hornets nearing a deal to send guard Terry Rozier to the Heat in exchange for veteran point guard Kyle Lowry and draft compensation, including a first-round pick, hashtag Association City. But you're taking the over tonight. That was set at
6.5 last time I checked.
Okay, and that it was your Cool Bet Canada hotline of the day as well. Is Iwanek in here?
I'm very surprised. Yeah, he is.
He said he might be late, and he's like earlier than he normally is.
Yeah, that's weird.
What a guy. Well, can he come fix this audio issue? No, I don't want to put too much pressure.
We've come this far.
Boys, this is who needs audio, right?
Who needs it?
Who needs it?
I don't.
You got the conch, the wet conch.
And a very terrible ticker that I tried
the
to.
The ticker was pretty good.
The ticker was legendary.
Oh, God.
Don't be so hard on yourself.
Kind of came in and out, that type of thing.
The one.
Here we go.
The no longer one.
Here we go. I didn't do anything. I came in just like yesterday morning. Everything was the same. No, but
this is fun.
This is now like
nice Ravens shirt.
It's a Ravens boy. Arm's okay. Everything's good. We were kind of concerned it would take longer. Now you're here. And
talk about a bandwagon.
It was kind of surprising.
This guy's been a Ravens fan for 2 weeks.
Don't start that. You know what else he's been? A glory hunter. Yeah.
I'm kidding.
Chasing the success.
Matty Iwanek is the legendary, lifelong Baltimore Ravens fan.
Well, and if we've given you a lot of reasons to join us for Super Bowl at the Century Casino Sports Bar and Lounge.
Absolutely.
If the Ravens do make it to Vegas in Super Bowl 58, having Matty down there will be entertainment in itself.
Wine's on Matty?
It'll be all on Matty. The stress will be on Matty. You need a Matty cam.
Yes.
It's just an ISO just to keep track of him and everything and living snap by snap and play count by play count. But, of course,
I don't know.
We have a championship Sunday to get through first.
Be interesting to see. I forget. Did you say you would have rather seen the Chiefs or the Bills?
I didn't have.
You didn't care.
He just wanted them to beat each other up. You want, and that's what they did. Beating up and.
I saw reasons I want to see both. After that game, I'm not as concerned about the Chiefs as I might have
Do you think Patrick Mahomes is on pace to become the greatest of all time? He is on pace.
Tom Brady has one more Super Bowl.
I know, but in his first 7 years, he's had 6 AFC championships.
Yeah, but what about Super Bowls?
2. Oh, in his first 7 years, though. I'm just saying, trajectory-wise.
Yes, Tom Brady had 3.
In his first 7 years?
You're getting him going here. You're revving up the motor here.
Well, just to be continued. Maybe I'll join you on the hangout.
Ask him about the Cerezny.
Oh, yeah.
That scared me.
Yeah?
Jeez.
We're back, baby.
Round of clicks.
He said to me the cord didn't have to be plugged in all the way, and I had it plugged in all the way. So
That can't be it.
that's ridiculous.
That was
Is that it?
But that was it?
Who made that rule?
Well, that one is.
You'd never have troubleshooted
Make me look like a fool.
I did.
Fool.
Don't look at me. Maddie, would you like some of my sausage?
I'd love a sausage.
Well, do you have a knife? Can we all unwrap this thing?
Yeah, let's get a
to the
knife.
info. We are approaching the
take us into
wrap
the-
brought to you by and the sausage wrapped in what is it? 2 layers of aluminum foil this morning. The wrap brought to you by our good folks at William Huff. If you want your place to look as good as ours, you can visit them. Visit the team online, williamhuff.com. They've been in business since 1972, so you know they are incredible at what they do. Ask for the dream team. Oh boy, that's like a little donair loaf there. Hey, would you like to?
I'll
play
do the
mother there?
honors,
Yeah, you can.
All right.
Just do your thing, and we'll get a slice here. I'm looking forward to this. You gonna have a slice? Fine, slice for the boys.
If
you're
if
having
I
a
can-
slice.
Okay, cool.
J Milne.
Sorry, I am taking.
No, this is all we are going off.
Your
the,
sausage.
We're going off the rails. No. I mean, I'd like to. I'd like you to have the first bite, so I know it's not. Here, eat this, and then you don't see me again for months on end. But
This is how Jay got into the EST.
maybe this is how you get in for text of the day this morning. Time is ticking down on the show. We got about 13 minutes left. 780-218-9999. $20 online to A&W this morning for text of the day. He's eating the first piece, so there we go. We know it's legit. I like him thin. Okay, that's pretty good there. Yeah. Oh, it is like a donair loaf though. J Milne's homemade sausage. I love it. Oh, dude, it's all
You
beef.
gotta take both.
All
It's
beef.
all
you
ground
said?
beef. Yep.
I tell you, you win sausage of the day. I don't know if
Job
there's a
well done.
prize for
Holy,
that.
oh my, oh my.
Zach bring those cheese and crackers or what?
No. It's good, hey?
You know,
Zach to come.
I had beef with that foster adoption, but I don't got beef with this.
Are you vegan?
This is good.
Come on in.
Get yourself a slice.
Get yourself some of that.
Go down on that one, huh?
Yeah. Go down on that one, Zach to come.
What a surprise.
Are you surprised it's good?
Well, part of the wrap is saying what we learned on the show this morning. And aside from the Lowry deal and everybody's thoughts on who you take out to put Corey Perry in the lineup, I learned that you can make a damn mean sausage like that. That is.
It takes 5 days to prepare. And then it's an overnight 8-hour cook at 200 degrees. It's good.
And this is where we wanted to take this. Jason chimes in. Imagine if Tommy saw you guys messing the desk, he'd be pissed. All that meat. Yes, that's kind of why we're doing this as well. What do you think, Tom? Huh?
I've been now called the Sausage King of Strathcona County, and I couldn't be more proud.
You wear that crown.
You got some mighty fine sausage.
It's delicious. I'll be having, and you left the end piece there as
Oh,
well.
yeah.
eh?
Yeah, you saw that. You saw that.
You know the way. So.
Wah, wah. Okay, so maybe he isn't trending to be the best. I don't know. I still think the debate's up. The debate's there.
You came with this point today. That's your spear tip, hey?
He could. Yeah, and I mean, how many more years does Patrick Mahomes have left? 8?
Bill Dickel says it's all about the chips. Mahomes is not on pace. So there you go.
Yeah, he is on pace, and I think, yeah. Imagine if Tommy saw. This is from Jason. It comes in. Imagine if Tommy saw you guys messing the desk. Be pissed. All that meat. We should just leave it here.
Tom's in the chat, is he? What do you think, Tom? I just had the NP. Delicious. Man, that's good spicing, good everything.
Hey, Commissioner Quinn was in the chat earlier. She had said something about the fact that I think cats would be figure skating, I think.
Well, I said curling, and it's right in her wheelhouse because she does sling suds
be
at the Shamrock,
that.
correct?
Yeah.
Shamrock Curling Club, where they do have 6 o'clock lager on tap. I have to get down there one of these days as well, but only the days when Commissioner Quinn is slinging the suds. The Sausage Sultan of Strathcona. Was that the handle? You said something slightly different, did you?
Sausage Sultan. It's fine. We're just, keep them coming. Sausage King.
Coming in for that. Well, here, name Jay Milne in his sausage prowess this morning, and that may get you the text of the day. That will get you the text of the day.
That would get you text of the day.
Give him a name right now. Send it in, 780-218-9999. Let's go. You know how we do. Text in names, sausage names.
Sausage King of Strathcona County is the current leader in the clubhouse.
Sultan or King?
Sausage
will take
King.
Sultan. Sausage King? Okay.
Yeah.
Sultan's not
I'm
bad
just
with the
reading.
S's.
I'm the Sultan of Swing.
Well, you Sultan the Mini. We also learned this morning that you have a barn with various animals as well on your property, which is
Yeah, that's where the sausage came from. Kidding. Good kidding. It's a joke.
But no pigs.
Nope.
Okay. Very clean animal too. You're getting on that cleanliness part.
Yeah. They stink.
What are you watching tonight?
Well, obviously I'm watching the Oil Stream pre and post game show with my man Tommy Gazzola, Cass, and the newly rearmed Matthew Iwanek, the maker of sounds in this studio. He jiggled a chord and, now it works less. And then I'm going to follow that up, obviously, by watching the Oilers game.
Yeah,
Excited.
Bringer of sound, bringer of light.
Bringer of sound.
Oilers Jackets tonight, one of a handful of games. Elsewhere, Dallas visit Detroit. The Habs are at home to Ottawa. Vegas, they're on the road taking on Paddywaw and the New York Islanders. You got the Flames at home to the Blues. Buffalo and Anaheim, and the Sharks at home to the Rangers. Kings falling last night again, this time in a shootout. So their troubles just continue, albeit with a lowercase t last night, falling in the shootout. Vegas also falling in overtime yesterday. You mentioned and you asked Craig whether or not the Oilers, I'm not putting any sort of ceiling on this team right now. And it is tough. But you got 5 games in hand, for crying out loud. I mean, that you can do a lot. You can eliminate a lot of room at those 5 games and really put a lot of pressure on teams that are, what look like right now points and points and points ahead of you. I'm just saying. The Canucks haven't really hit too many stumbling blocks. Golden Knights have run into some injury issues. They've stumbled a bit. The Kings have been on a they can't stop stumbling here. But Vancouver just keep trucking along. So I'm not too. Could the Oilers do it? Yes. Will the Canucks? The question is, will they regress a bit? I don't know at this point. They haven't shown it.
The numbers game would suggest they have to. I don't know that they can keep this pace up for the entire season, but prove me wrong. Some people chiming in here on the Paris Jewelers inbox. C. Hendo, my man. Since you guys have been back on the air, one of the best parts is how often we get to listen to people eating on the show. That's pleasant to listen to.
Well, hey, all the radio stuff that we learned tonight, it just goes out the window, right? All the time, temp, weather, this is all just whatever it is. Look, the eating, yes, I Got Beef returns tomorrow, courtesy Corey the Butcher and Acme Meats, in which the whole
Maybe you
point
should just
of that,
keep this in the fridge.
Well, we might, and that because I do believe he's on vacation, and he usually brings us the meat. The point of the segment is you've got beef, you're mad at something, and we would, have a tear of jerky. It's not the end of the world. It's not like we're. But yes, people were bringing food. We had our Christmas party where we usually do, and we did it back at 12:60, where you eat during the show. It's not something that's a constant, like gambling is, with every segment on this show or this station. But we can mix it. That's the point of this. A swear could slip. I don't come on here and say F this, F that, but a swear could slip every once in a while.
Sure.
We're a little free and easy. We're not. It's not total chaos around here. But these names are.
Do you want to go?
Well, the rookie, the sausage slinger, slinging succulent, satisfying sausage in Strathcona, Sunday through Saturday. That's you're
the
in
sausage
there.
sultan of Strathcona did
Strathcona
come in.
sausage slayer.
Jabe Fromiln.
Jerry Karpiak taking it in a different direction. The Kubasa King of Kapusta County.
Kapusta County, I like that.
Kapusta County. Milne's Meat Mania Market. I love taking it outside of this Wiener Slinger. I do believe that's kind of reserved for one Joaquin Gage and his time at Commonwealth throughout the summer.
Strathcona's sausage sommelier.
We need to work sommelier into more things casually, don't we?
Sultan of Sausage is looking to take the lead over here.
Do you just like it because it's simple and not too busy? Like you put that on a billboard and look at it and be like, yeah, that's a winner.
I like the word Sultan.
Sultan's great, yeah.
Because I do like a good swing. So I am the Sultan of swing and sausage.
The red light is always on, right?
Always.
As they say. Yes.
Maddie, who's on the hangout today?
Minner.
Darwal.
Big Liverpool fan, Min is. Hey, you have to ask him about soccer. And yeah.
This is Friday soccer day. Lori's on the hangout.
Yes. Could I maybe chime in for 10 minutes or something like that?
You're gonna have to learn soccer.
I will have to be quiet. It's hard to do.
Cook me up another one of these, and I'll go over some.
Fill me in.
Yeah. Get you on the pitch.
Okay.
Yeah?
Okay.
And the Rangers. Glizzy Gobbler, the rookie, once again, just killing it. We'll, man, I do love Kubasa, King of Kapusta County, with all the K.
There's good.
From Carpe. But you're going with what? This is
we
your,
could put it up
this
to
is
a
your
vote.
baby.
We could put it on a Twitter vote.
You want to Twitter vote this thing?
Yeah. Why not?
What are your options right now?
Well, the Sultan of Sausage.
Sultan of Sausage.
The Sultan of Sausage of Strathcona County.
Oh boy, that's way too rich.
I think just the Sultan of Sausage.
I have a limit of characters.
Sultan of Sausage. Sausage King of Strathcona.
Sausage King of Strath.
And we'll just do it. We'll keep it simple. Kubasa King of Kapusta County.
Kubasa King of Kapusta.
All Ks.
Okay, I'll put that out. King of Kapusta County. This is Well, we'll get it up there.
Sure.
Somebody's going to be winning the $20 to A&W, and it's going to be somebody texting in one of those sausage handles for you, one Jason Milne, whom I really appreciate you joining. I know this is, it wasn't as short notice as it was for Gager. You had about 48. I mean, you had some time to prepare. You had some time to make me a sausage, for crying out loud.
And anytime. I love to be here. I love coming in. You guys are awesome to work with. It's fun. Where did these 3 hours go?
They fly by, don't they?
Wow.
It's the glue guy, and where can people follow you on Twitter?
At Jason Milne, which I might change my handle a bit too to reflect said Twitter poll that is going to be going out to the masses soon.
And that's going to do it. I think we'll wrap up. Maddie, I want us ready to go. I think a few guests will be trickling in here as well. Or... Yeah, okay. 9:05-ish, Matt says. So stay tuned for that. Of course, Dustin Nielson scheduled to be back tomorrow morning. Everything will be right in the universe. We'll be breaking down the Oilers and the Blue Jackets. Of course, getting you set for the Oilers and Blackhawks coming up Thursday night. He'll be back. We will also have Jamie McLennan Noodles will be joining us. He is our insider on Wednesdays. Hopefully, I Got Beef returns as well, courtesy Corey the Butcher and Acme Meats. And again, we'll be breaking down this Oilers Blue Jackets game. Once again, thanks to you, Jay Milne. Thanks to Joaquin Gage. Thanks to Craig Button this morning as well. And thanks to all of you listening in the Nasty Chat, wherever you are. TuneIn Radio app, online, watching, listening. YouTube, Trev, as well, for... the pendulum swings, man. We hit it all out of the park on Monday, and today but that's you move, right? You move.
That's the way she goes sometimes.
That's it. It don't matter. We had another successful show. So thanks to everyone listening, paying attention, watching, and all that jazz, and for the advice on my Foster Cat episode, which hope to put that one to rest here soon. For myself, Lieutenant Eric, J Milne, YouTube Trev. Enjoy tonight. Blue Jackets and Oilers will be by 5:30 tonight for the All-Stream pregame show. Tom Gazzola, Matt Iwanek, they'll also set you down after tonight's game. Coming up next, it's the Hangout from 9 to 11. We got the Lock Shop with Andrew Huffsler-Patterson out of Winnipeg Sports Talk. That's 11 to 12. And two guys and a goalie wrapping things up later around noon. Enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy the morning. Stick around for the Hangout. We'll talk tomorrow.